I think you're still in bed, that's my fault.
Ew.
Wait a couple of minutes, maybe. So the, under each person's thing is what you sent, I just copied and pasted,
Cool.
okay? And so that's there. I was gonna try to divide out everybody's ideas and put them into one thing, but
Like, never mind.
I just forgot that. So
It's good though, we can highlight what we will.
the first, it's the most important is my ideas there. But fortunately, they match most of what everybody else has this thing. So, wait just a couple more minutes, maybe, I guess, dig into your food for a minute. And repeat it.
Thank you for whoever got the food.
Sorry.
Laurie, so much. And Laurie didn't even have to go out of the city to get it this time. This last time we had Chick-fil-A, we had to go out of the city to get it.
I was pushing for Beto's.
Me too.
I think next time, we're gonna have Beto's.
Oh, not until they're in the city.
Those are the rules.
I'm Einstein. Einstein's breakfast made was pretty good.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Good thing I didn't eat breakfast at home.
You think about it?
I about forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I had an Einstein's down here, it was horrible. The buns were like they were left over from, or the bagels were left
Really?
over 2 days ago. So disappointing.
Been several times.
They
It's been
come
good.
frozen to this location.
Oh, do they?
So disappointing. Einstein's are usually just
Uh-huh.
in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Die for.
Well,
Do we? That's all?
I can call. I'll call Sarah.
You call Sarah. Okay. Did you wait? And he's sitting outside, just waiting for the call to come in.
Sweet.
Plenty of sauces if you guys would want to go.
We did that for 7 hours last night. Stand outside, wait to go in. Where are we at? Down by the church on 13.5.
Just.
Did that email not come?
Yeah, it came through.
Did it?
I saw it.
Didn't see that. What happened? Swap call out.
Hey there.
Outside the city? No. Down by the church on 13. Really?
Sarah answered.
No.
Couldn't tell her I was gonna eat her. She didn't hurry.
Happening.
Last week of the legislature.
Good.
Assume this was mine.
It's totally yours. I'm trying to give you half of mine too.
Sauce. On those people. Good idea, probably not.
This sauce will kill you.
I'm sure it will. I've got like 40 ingredients.
I know.
None of which.
All natural.
Organic.
So I attended a Wasatch Front Regional Council meeting and some training that they had, and they had this planning to shape act And they went into a lot more detail than I'm gonna go into, but I just thought that was kind of important. We're trying to shape the action and shape what the city is going to be. And on my little top part of that agenda here, you know, the direction of the city and set attainable short and long-term goals. That's the purpose of what this meeting, at least what I want this meeting to be. And I'm so thankful that we have a good relationship with the council and the mayor and the staff. I talk to a lot of cities and it's been my privilege to meet a lot of often with the mayors, and they don't have that
Yeah.
relationship. Ogden City is divided, just horrible. They're pushing for sanctuary cities. They're pushing for these things that we just don't have here. And so I want to start out before we get into some of these things that I'm just so thankful for this relationship that we have, and I don't ever want to lose that. You know,
Can I give you a quote for that? In the absence of clearly defined goals, we are strangely loyal to daily acts of tribute. We just do whatever pops up because we don't have focus, we don't have a goal.
Yeah.
So clearly defined goals are good.
thank you, that's amen. Mr. Derek Draper, you know, thank you for, I know this is a public meeting, so I won't say too much, but he always talked about, you get along too much. Have you ever heard that?
We all voted.
You all vote the same. You know, it's okay to vote the same, but it's okay to disagree as well.
But I like when we do disagree, we're not disagreeable.
Yeah.
You know, we respect each other's opinions. It's where I think that's a sweet spot there.
So, you know, I listed a whole page full of stuff, roads. I mean, all these things that we just don't, we're working on, you know, the water tank, and you know, that's on several things, we need to get that taken, but those things are long-term projects that I don't want to talk about today. I want to go away today with some good things that we can go, and I think if we have this, like a work session once a quarter, once every little bit, I think that's helpful. Several of the cities have work sessions every other week, and I think that's too much. And I don't want to just have a meeting to have a meeting, and so we have a hard cutoff time at 11:27.
Yeah, my
And
count.
something, okay. I've invited two guests today to speak, Dave Leoli and Jordan Watson. I've given them 15 minutes, no more, no less. So we're gonna have that. I'm kind of waiting to have Sarah, because
She's on the way.
pregnant, and I didn't want to repeat stuff. And then the very last thing there on my agenda, I want to see some things finished. Get off the checklist. And there's just so many things that are just undone, and I just bothers me. Garbage cans, that's a big deal, and little Mike is hopefully within the next couple of weeks is gonna have a presentation for us. I think he's gonna have that by our March 10th meeting. That was the goal. And I talked with the Republic people after our meeting that we had with Public Works. And we have two options. And really, and we were there today,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of laid down the law to them a little bit, and I have to say, my cans have stood upright every week since then. They haven't been to, the lid's been shut, they've been not slammed, and so I think that's,
They know where you live?
yeah, they know, well, I don't know if they know where I live, but.
Might have been the same.
But Dave said, you know, if the expectation is just have that lid come down, not flipped over, that's where a lot of the breakage comes. And I talked to, is Austin, I think, is the nuts and guy, the route guy. And I said, what would it take just to take it over? And he says, and now this was just kind of a off the cuff quote, but he said $1 a month for each resident, and I'll have 10,000 cans delivered here tomorrow. I was thinking, you know, we'd probably have to put $2 a month to cover the cost of all the cans. So I think, but we have to replace these cans at some point.
And
I
then,
don't-
then does that get us out of the garbage can business?
Yeah,
Like,
we could get some, get us out of the garbage can business, it turns it over to them.
Yeah.
They manage it,
yeah,
I think it's a small price to pay, so. Hopefully, get a task little Mike. With that, I'm gonna take that off of Tyson's plate, Tyson's welcome to help him, but I want him to stand right in front of there and give options on what we can do.
Point,
So-
sir.
So that's kind of the garbage can thing, I don't think we need to talk too much about that, because that will come, anybody want to talk about that?
Can you just give me like 10 seconds of what you said for that garbage cans?
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Absolutely.
So I was talking to Ashley Colley, who I'm guessing was one of the people getting the bottom too. So about some Weaver County issues, but then she said, hey, I saw you were a city council person in Pleasant View, how's it going? And I relayed some of the same issues that I'm sure both of you said to her, and she apologized and said they're working on some things and been able to two options, just like you mentioned, and more to come. So my items is that exact thing, $1 a month or whatever it is. I'll bring that up later, but thank you for taking this one on.
Well,
It's a big one.
this is one of those things that's just been going on too long, and so. I don't know. I feel like this is a horrible venue for looking at everybody. We need to have a big round table,
Yeah.
but we need to have microphones, I don't know, and then that other room is just too small.
So Mayor, you wanted to establish a garbage can replacement, is that what you're saying?
Well, Dave and I met with the Republic a month ago or so, 3 weeks ago. We've tasked Little Mike with getting information and bringing it back to us. After the meeting, I talked with Austin, who's the, kind of and Ashley's the rep.
She's sales.
But Austin is kind of over the trucks, over the routes, over the different things. And since we've had that meeting, Mike Han has stood up with the lid on, and everybody on the street has done it. We told him to slow down, because the flipping back over is what's breaking those lids, just the. He says, lower the hydraulics or whatever it is, so that it's, take that extra minute. Dave made the suggestion, it's a standard to have that can standing up with the lid on top of it, and if it's not, you get out, the driver gets out of the truck and puts it there, because that'll force them. It's be longer for them to get out and stand the can up than just to push it down
Well,
slowly.
It's back to the goal. Like, if you set a goal and you're gonna do this every time, they're gonna do it. If
Yeah.
they don't have an expectation, they don't.
By the way, with that, just to like 10 seconds, I don't know, you said a month ago, so last week, Parker Reed, who lives up on the hill, he sought me out at school to tell me, hey, I took pictures of, your garbage cans, city's garbage can service. I watched them get out, shut this, go across the street and pull them over because somebody brought them out late. They went the extra mile and he took pictures and wanted to let us know that they went out of their way on that street.
Well,
So,
there is, I mean, Republic is, they came in a time of need, and we want to work with them. I'm not trying to get, I'm not trying to get rid of them, but I think they heard us talk. And anyway, when I talked to Austin, he said, there's, two options, we can buy them, and it's $2 or $3 a month per resident to buy it, or as if it's just maybe a buy, now this wasn't a quote, but maybe $1 a month from each resident, which would be, another 10.
is that the free count for replacement?
No, and then they would he said we could have 10,000 cans here tomorrow.
Oh.
And just replace them, and we'd be out of the garbage can business.
You'd still be contracted with them,
Right, they would.
but they would
pro-
take care of.
Take care of the
they would
replacements.
provide-
Thank you, sorry.
So anyway, that's what that,
Be the best option still, but who knows?
but anyway, Mike has been tasked with that presentation, so I apologize. Now that took 15 minutes, and I thought it would be 1 minute. And we're gonna talk about additional staff. I've talked, I think the main thing is with the ladies, is kind of where we're needed. Celebrations committee, I wanna have something, whether we have it or not, we're getting too late, so I wanna talk about that a little bit. And ordinances was a big deal on everybody's list of updating that. When we hired the attorney, I asked him if he could do that, maybe one wanted to do, you know, if he has a little bit of time, he's been so well overwhelmed with getting caught up that he hasn't had time to really review some of those, but I think, you know, or do we hire an outsource? I talked with Ben Nadolski. I spent about 2 hours talking to him the other night after sewer board. And he, I mean, he's silly because they have so many different departments. And he said, well, just hire somebody from the outside and get in and do it all at once. And I said, well, that just takes money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we kind of need to have a direction on that. The attorney will do a little bit, and Andrea and I, we talked a little bit about the police, you know, a lot of it's state statute. What do we have on this with ordinances that contradict that? Because you go to state statute first, so just get rid of them. Get rid of ours, and, but we have to keep raccoons being able to be shot. That's the only one that I'm not. Well, a lot of ours, the state statute overrides what we have in the city.
Some of ours that like, we've had stuff come up and go through and start looking at, and there is still some that contradicts. We
Yeah.
don't want that, for sure.
So do we just adopt the state statute on things, but Pleasant View is unique, so I don't know where that sits, and I haven't looked at them all, but.
So like your golf cart ordinances, your winter parking, things that are specific to the city,
Yeah.
like those things need to still be in there. But like speeding, we don't need a ordinance for a speeding violation, because no one in the police department is citing under that
Yeah.
ordinance. They're citing under state statute.
So I don't know, again, we'll get a little more details as we go through your individual things here, but I think, you know, that'd be a good place to start, is just taking some of the old things out, if there's something that covers it. And does each department do that? You know, planning is a huge thing, the offsets, the setbacks, those are different per, I mean, if it was written in the 1970s or it was written yesterday, it's different, there's no uniformity throughout, so I put that, you know, have the attorney look at some, and maybe we stick with that and see how far I can get. But that was one of the reasons when we hired him, I asked specifically if he could help us review some of those ordinances that are out of date, so I'll let Andrew talk about that here in a minute. And this is my pet peeve, and in 4 years, I want to have that stupid building done. We need funding for that. There's so many things that,
Which one?
my new cultural hall that we're gonna have out there where the CERT building is.
I was gonna say, it's not stupid.
Well, this building, I know, but I want to get, I'm gonna form a little committee with some private people to find some. We have a lot of money in this community, and I just think if we could get 100,000 from somebody, 100,000 from somebody else, there's people that will.
Do you have an estimation of what it might?
I don't, I'm getting that right now. That's why we're not gonna cover it right now, because I'm getting a concept, so we can kind of get just an idea of what it'll look like. I've got an idea in my mind. We've talked about that a little bit, but that's gonna be there. Newsletter message. I don't mind doing it, but it's all my, do you think that's something that I need to do, or do we have, Public Works put a, you know, like in?
Can we talk about this underneath my communication
Perfect.
part? I have ideas on
Done,
that.
done. Information signed too, we've talked about that, and
I already got back from them.
they did?
last
Perfect,
night,
all right,
5
perfect. General plan is all on a lot of people's lists as well. And I don't know if we need to do a complete general plan update, or we have the several parts of it. The small housing part, I think it's an important thing. You know, what you guys voted down last week, I think there was.
Well, there was.
Well, but yeah, it's just, we need to adopt something into that, so we can allow, so it's not just piecemeal. The hillside is another thing that's gonna, I think, be part of the general plan. That master plan, and so we've had several things come in. You know, it makes some sense up there, but you know, water's gonna be the big deal. Without water, we're shut down, really.
I got a question for you. So when these things, when we get done, are we going to kind of vote on priority? Or
Yeah,
we can-
mhm,
is that what we do?
absolutely.
Okay.
And that gets up to my last couple things here in the city. I want to have a list, we'll talk about it, I said 15 minutes for presentations, but if we need to go a little bit longer, but that last maybe half hour, I want to take the things that we discussed and make some notes and come up with 4 or 5 things that we really think we can accomplish.
Great.
And identify them, yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what I want to do, okay? That's why I'm not going into a whole lot of detail on this. I wanna get, let's see, a cemetery. I think that's one of the things I wanna highly put on our list. I would say that would be in the top 5 to get that going. We need to get water secured, and I've asked Tyson to kind of look and see how much water we're gonna need for that area, and we need to get those water shares secured, because water is going to become more expensive as it becomes more scarce. And
Scarce than this year.
yeah, but we've got to get that secured yesterday, or we're gonna have to pay a lot of money for those water shares. Tyson said he had some sources for that, and I've got a couple other sources that have some extra water that we hopefully can get for down there.
But the people that have done it,
Okay, perfect. Well,
I mean, have you asked our people holding water?
State's forming a committee. Who's gonna
okay,
talk?
well, whatever we get it, we gotta get it secured, and we gotta get it, I met with the water, or I think Andrea and I, didn't we? Did we meet together? Or was that just me with the cemetery board?
Oh,
Okay, can't remember who's met with who, but anyway, I met with the cemetery board, and they're on board to provide everything. Sprinkler, sod, digging it up, getting it surveyed, everything, once we get it. I know that, there's been some arguments of who owns the land, but I think Pleasant View needs to retain ownership of the land. Because, right now, the cemetery board owns Lone View, not right.
So they want to own it.
So we'd have to have an interlocal agreement. They don't wanna own it. But they have, but I've proposed a shared cost payback, cause we need to pay back for the property. So maybe a 50/50 on to buy a plot. Until we're paid back, and then cause they need something to operate, but
Yeah.
and they need an off-site building that I think, we've got that Public Works that down there. I'm gonna donate some land to that to put a building on for their shed. It's not right in the cemetery on the other side of a fence, so we'll have to talk about that. Get vacant positions filled. There's no, I think, and I've talked to Tyson, I think we still have 2. Yeah. So I wanna get the positions filled, before we hire. I talked with Mr. Dixon at South Ogden, he's the city administrator there. And if we have a little more time, I'm just, 5 minutes, then we're gonna turn it over to Dave here. He talked about simplifying tasks. And and it can be anything, from turning a plan in to just doing anything. He said he got a pile of Post-it notes and went through and said, what is the process for doing whatever the task is, X task? And he put it on there, and it turned, it was 2 weeks to get something through, or 3 weeks to get something through. All these touches that had to happen. And they said, okay, what if we combine this task, this task, and he got it down to 30 minutes or something to do something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge problem for us with everything that we do. And we've done it the way we've done it. And so that's the way we do it. So I would like to identify some of the tasks and things that we do. And I look at a lot at planning, and I'm hoping that Sean is gonna give us some great ideas on planning. But it just kind of rang a bell to me of just, look at how we're doing things. Even dog licenses or just anything. Let's get it to its simplest form.
Oh, waste elimination, eliminating waste. It's what these guys have all been learning in high performance.
Perfect.
We just gotta continue.
Let's simplify the tasks. And if it has to come down to the ordinance to eliminate something, let's do it. And I don't want to be overwhelmed. I want to take 1 or 2 at a time, but you know, when a developer comes in and wants to do something, let's start mapping what it takes to get that done. And if he has to go through 17 different people to get 100 different signatures on different things, you know, I've been wanting checklists, and I think we've got some checklists for some of these things. Are we using them? Are they the best process? I don't know.
See what stuff sheets and
Good.
things,
Good, let's,
what the reports that she puts out weekly, where everybody is,
let's,
how it's moving forward, the checklist. She really.
I applaud all that, but I just want to make sure that that's the best way. So Dave will back me up on that. Anyway, direction of the city, I've already said this, let's set attainable and short-term goals. And that's what I want at the end of this meeting. I want to have whatever that number is of some things that we can accomplish soon. Knowing that there's a lot of long-term stuff that we do want as well. But I just want to have some successes that we can say, oh my gosh, we did it as a group. Is that fair?
Great.
All right, Dave. This is Dave Laole. Most of you know him. He just purchased the property on 2700 and 600 going west towards the storage units. And I told him that I wanted something exciting, something that became
you.
showcase for the city. And
And say,
he says, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to strip them all down there. And I says, no, that's not what we're gonna look at.
We do. So.
And so he's gonna talk to us a little bit about what his vision is and how it can benefit the city. He talked about a city center, a destination of some sort down there. All yours.
Precisely.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me come. Appreciate all your time. And look forward to getting going on this. So for those of you that don't know, we're with North Point Development. We own PQ Plaza. We developed that, still own it. And we're really excited about this project. So had a few different PowerPoints we were going to bring up to you, but then as we got down to it, we just want to have a conversation primarily. It's taken probably, we're a little over 2 years getting all this land secured. There's about 6 different owners that we've had to work with and the timing of it all. And so now we're here, we're ready, and we'd like to do something really special here. And I think really that comes from, we have an investor partner that has the ability to cash fund the entire project from start to finish vertical. And his intent is to make a project here that is really a legacy project that comes from him. He's a local here in Pleasant View. He wants to make this special, really, really special. And so do we. So Peakview Plaza, let's go to that really quick, just to kind of give you some updates and so we can hopefully see how we can make this project better. But Peakview Plaza, the tenants that are there, currently are doing okay. And I think it's clear to see that if you frequent Peakview Plaza at all. The traffic, obviously on that road is great, but getting people in and purchasing is a different story. And it's getting better, right? Each year they are improving, but no one's in business just to do okay. So for long-term sustainability of the commercial that Pleasant View has, I think this project, we can identify how to really just buoy all that up. I know the Coford piece has been a really great piece for a long time, and I think it has the potential to be an awesome piece. But I think we need to identify what things can attract the highest and best uses, really for the whole area, not just.
Is everybody familiar with when we talk about the Colford piece? Okay.
It's that one on the corner of.
It's the opposite.
Yeah. No. He's just yeah. So I think what we can do here, and we look at this piece really as like the best, biggest piece for Pleasant View to score on. And that's we want. We obviously have a vested interest in PP Plaza. We've had multiple tenants already come and go. Preston Taco couldn't keep the doors open. They had to close. And we've had that listed for, probably 6 months now. And we just got an LOI for, Indian store or, Indian restaurant. So anyways, it's tough and it's not a national. And I think national tenants do a really, good job of supporting all the other commercial in the area too. So, that's our goal and that's our intent, is to do something that's not just for the developer, something that's not just, because we can, if you look at the zone map here, this is your current zone map. 12 acres of it is CPUD. Is everyone familiar with the CPUD zone? Commercial Plan Unit Development. That is a great zone for a developer. It allows for manufacturing, it allows for all business uses in a very planned and coordinated way. However, I don't think that that's necessarily the best use for the area and for supporting things. And there's been multiple manufacturing and concrete tilt up people that have approached us on this, tried to get us to sell that, because they'll put those up overnight. And
That's really strange that there's a CPUD in between two.
it is, huh? Yeah, the zoning on this road is strange in general. The C2 zone,
I'll see too.
That's what I thought.
that's, yeah, just that 12 acres. I don't know if they came in a while ago.
I believe it's in.
So I thought the PUD was an overlay.
So a
You were-
CPUD is an overlay, it doesn't necessarily dictate, the CP2 would dictate, and then you'd have the option for them.
Yeah, yeah, I think that, there was a group that came in here, Ninegrid, who, they're a tilt-up company, they do manufacturing, and that was their goal. We actually bought the Dixon piece from them, because they had a contract. Luckily, we had secured the call piece, and that kind of blocked them from being able to go and do
I
that.
remember rezoning all this too, CPUD.
Yeah.
CP2.
Yeah, and speaking to the C2 zone, I don't like that zone at all. It was for PQ Plaza, there was a lot of challenges. It's not, you look at the C2 zone, there's just not a lot of uses. If you're wanting general retail, commercial, there's a lot of challenges to getting a tenant that can work in that zone. I think the CP2 zone is much better, and I think would be better suited for this whole area. Obviously, across the street, Brent Bailey's is CP2 and the Covert, but so anyways, there's also a mixed use east zone, and a while ago it had residential component, and then that was taken away. So looking at mixed use east, and I don't really see the benefit of that. I don't know what, without a residential component, I don't see why someone would even try to go to that zone. It is specifically slated for this section of land. It goes from 900 west, 2700 north, and 2550 all the way to the east city boundary. But it with the residential component, I think it had some uses for developer. But really, I think the question is, and I want to open it up more, we want to work as a team with the city to find and attract the highest and best uses and the highest and best users of land. And so I think if we can open it up and just hear from you, I guess the first question is what are the city's pinch points? What can we find on this project to kind of help solve some of those? I know we had a great conversation with the mayor, and we talked a few different times since, obviously income to the city is things. But anyways.
Gathering, want people to have a place to gather, to, want to stay, to, enhance the community. That economic is, for me, is absolutely key too, but it's not just, we just want money.
Sure.
We want to enhance the community feeling, a place to gather, a place to have not just eating, but things to do, to linger, to be there.
Yeah, well, and that lingering usually translates to money spent, and sales tax like that.
I mean, I already told them this, but Farmington Station, just,
People,
just a walk through with some sidewalks, some flowers, some, just a central spot just to walk on a Sunday afternoon, or something, have an ice cream shop, or just something to where it becomes a destination versus just to drive by and I'll pick up lunch and then go. Dave's talked about a city center. We don't really have a city center. I don't know if I necessarily want that to be our city center, but a nice corner, a nice place where, with plenty of parking and places just to go or to walk or have a walking path, go to it, or is there something would be really nice with some nice things in. We went down and spent $100 at the Brazilian place down there in Farmington Station the other day. It was so expensive, but it was just what you do when you go there.
you can walk around, there's entertainment, there's things to do. I talked to so-and-so, and they would love, with, I'll bring it, possibly this up later, but events that bring people there.
Yeah.
In partnership with the city, Ogden does their pub crawl or their restaurant types of things where you can purchase a ticket and all week long you can go visit all these restaurants that participate in stuff, but they have entertainment going on, they have their art strolls, they have their, different festivals and stuff that bring people there. But you have to have a place to do that there, not just the parking lot, but a plaza, an area to gather, something where you get people there then to patron the businesses that you have, but also enjoy entertainment.
Yeah.
And do things while you're there.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Sometimes I feel like maybe our food truck giddy up might be competing against businesses down there, What are your thoughts on that? Would you entertain us coming down to the Rush and doing a food truck giddy up down there where they could go to a food truck, or maybe for that, I'm gonna go over here and go to
Yeah.
Marco's Pizza or whatever,
Yeah, I think it
I don't wanna,
does.
I guess I'm just saying, does it feel like we're competing against you when we do things like that?
Is that weekly?
No.
No, we only do 4, but I'm glad that Anne brought that. We've actually talked to the businesses about doing things down there as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that could definitely help. I haven't heard anyone complain about it. If it was more frequent, I would think that it's more of a problem.
Yeah.
we do 2 a month.
So I don't know how they would feel about having it on site, maybe it would bring more uses or more people to go and serve or service those places, but I don't know that it's a huge detract.
Not necessarily like food trucks, but come down and host a restaurant type of thing where you buy a ticket, and so you don't bring food trucks there because you're not going to buy at the establishments, right? But you bring the entertainment there,
Yeah,
and you bring, the concerts that we do here.
yeah, and I'm
Like
sure the
parking
Rush
lot.
would welcome
Yes.
using their parking lot for that. So that's a good idea.
So, I'm kind of trying to figure this out, but it seems like we're really changing. And nobody goes, the big box stores are struggling. I mean, some of them are, I think, and we're so used to having everything show up at our house now, and so I don't know if it's just restaurants. I mean, we ought to be thinking, what's the future of what people are gonna do for shopping or whatever, entertainment? Seems like restaurants are really the only thing that are doing well. Does that, I don't know.
Everybody has to eat.
Everybody has to
definitely
eat,
the
and
big
and
box retail and small retailers are.
doing okay
they're-
still.
Well, they're not necessarily jumping to get these places. They're going in places that have high density,
Are you
obviously.
going to establish, I talked to some, they would like to do a multi-fat, combination signage.
Yeah,
that
there will be a
is more
sign there.
visible,
Mhm.
so the people, that will help a little. to
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, no, that sign will go up with that last lot that's gonna be built, so.
Wasn't too long ago, I mean, I was in Miami, and it was, Miami's always got good weather and stuff, but they had, just these restaurants all lined down this big walking area, and mostly outdoor seating, and then they had a lot of indoor seating too as well. But it, probably 2 or 3 acres of just open space between the units, and I kind of think that would go really good here, where you could, you'd have 200 feet between stores, but all of it's walking and plants and dining, outdoor dining, that kind of stuff. And then they have their own stores lining it. And the parking is outside of that. So in this case, you have parking, and maybe it's wide enough that you could do strip mall
kind of like we have with Rush now, or, along there against the highway. Then you have parking between it, then an indoor, or not indoor, but interior stores with a big space between those.
Yeah,
And then the same thing. So you have a big space of, I mean, lots and lots of stores that could go into that. Whether it's restaurants, sit-down restaurants, or even maybe even fast food stuff on the outside with.
yeah,
But I really like what Sarah's saying about, we gotta be able to do events there. It needs to be something that the city and other organizations can do events where it's, you know,
Concert.
farmer's market, maybe it's a concert, maybe it's,
Restaurant crawl type of
Yeah.
thing, something.
yeah, we've had a few,
starter races, start from finish there. I don't know, stuff like that.
Provided with these, you know, like a plaza, you know, cause then like, we'll go back to, it's a dumb reference, but movie Pollyanna. You've got a little, what do you call those things in the middle of the town? A gazebo, or other towns and gaps, and so not necessarily old fashioned like that, but it's the same concept as the station.
Yeah.
It's got a center where they have an ice rink, that they have events that can not just be an ice rink, they bring in animal shows, they bring in all sorts of things to get people to come to patron business.
yeah,
And if you did that, we could partner probably with the city and events and other, you know, private organizations to do events more regularly. Ogden City does it all the time on 25th Street.
mhm,
And, you know, it's a great time and
Yeah.
they bring people down.
No other communities have that right here close to us, right? I mean,
Right.
it's really Ogden is the only one that has it, and for them to do it, they gotta shut off the street, which it works for them, but nobody else has that kind of citizen. Even Farmington Station to me doesn't feel that way. It's walkable and shopping, but it's just an outdoor market
It
mostly.
also-
But
it also brings other neighboring cities, like they've said, if there's not another place around here at the top of Weaver County, so
yeah.
except for Ogden City.
Yeah, and we've had a few different concepts drawn up for this, and, we do have an area like that planned in this. One of the biggest challenge really is attendance, right? With our experience with Peakview Plaza, what we hear all the time is there's not enough doors. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's not necessarily just doors, it's also business. So Pleasant View doesn't necessarily have a very high number of businesses employing people. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
a number on that, but I believe it's somewhere between 150, 300 people that businesses actually employ from Pleasant View. Somewhere in that ballpark.
so they're not necessarily looking for traffic that's going by it. They wanna know, hey, how are the business, how many businesses do you have and how are they doing?
Yeah,
right.
and really in the given area, right?
That's
Like Ogden has quite a few businesses that employ a lot of people. And so obviously Ogden takes advantage of that. And that's, have you heard of Acer, Placer AI? It's a city,
Yes.
you've probably heard of it.
It's-
So, tenants take a lot of the risk and a lot of question out of where they should go by using software like Placer AI. They can basically type in the address of where they want to go, and it'll populate all the data they need. You know, how many doors within the area, what's the income per capita, all those different things, and it'll basically say, this is a C or a D or a B or an A location.
We got 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, okay. With 2 more minutes, I just want to bring up that, we have some challenges in attracting those users. The highest and best users, the ones that are going to attract people, they're the ones that are gonna produce a lot of income for the city. And so I think it's a mix between how do we solve the issue of getting people there? How do we solve the issue of attracting the tenants that are going to be the good ones? Because we can go and do the most amazing plan, but will they come to it?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a sweet spot that we can probably come to and find, is it
Build a
How do
ball
we-
field, build it, and they will come.
bring a baseball field, yeah. How do we get businesses to show up, to have a big base of people who will support the commercial? Is there a residential component that we can add to this? Cause immediate residential, it has been proven and shown to support at a much greater rate than suburban and rural areas. And so we just wanted to get your minds thinking of this. Ultimately, like I said at the beginning, we want this to be special. And so we want to think big. This is just our first initial meeting with you guys, and we'll have more, but we'd like to get you starting to think about how can we work together as a team to get this project to be, really one of the best.
If you look at it, if you take a broader view of the state of Utah and you look at the points that are plotted of where it feels like it's a natural next stop, something like if you go north or you go south from here, it's Riverdale, right? And you go further south from there, it's probably Farmington. You take those kind of leaps. And then if you go north, it's probably Cache Valley, right? Is the next one?
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you look, I'm sure you look at the world that way, and you look at it, and if we have like what's happening in the far west with the Target, kind of centers around that kind of a point where it starts, and then it grows out from there. Is that of interest to you too? Is that how you look at it?
We do.
So when you see that, then what of those stops along the way, who's done it right?
I think Farmington Station's done it right. Riverdale's obviously done a really good job. Driving through there, you wouldn't necessarily agree
Right.
with that.
Well, how do you
But-
strike a balance with, obviously, you bring in more density, you bring more businesses, the trade-off is more congestion, more traffic, and more infrastructure needs and maintenance, and so.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this project is it'll all be private. So the impact to the city will be very minimal. As far as cost wise, traffic congestion is natural. That road is going to get
Services.
more.
From the city with police and public works and
Yep.
everything else, as we build, that increases the burden. Also, naturally, so that definitely, we need the tax dollars to
Exactly.
support all of that.
So Dave, I'm gonna shut you off here.
Sorry.
I appreciate you coming. I think this is a great first step. I hope you understand that we want to work with you.
Yep.
And I appreciate you coming. I think that we can do some things, change some things that make sense.
Yeah.
And I hope you understand that we're willing to work with the developer.
No, we do. We
So
really
thank you for
appreciate
coming.
that. Thanks
Appreciate
for allowing us to come and take
Like-
some time.
Look forward to hearing more things from you.
Yeah, we'll be back shortly.
Want it to be the best place in Weaver
Like
County.
you said, think big. I like that.
Think big.
Think big. Yeah.
Okay.
To Dave, on the side note, I would like you to know what not here, it's why you don't like
So, some of you may know Jordan Watson. He, has a little different problem. And, we've been yeah, please. We've been working, and this is where the
Thank
Union Pacific line is crossing over there by Capstone. And we as a city
Is Nate with you? Nate, okay.
are trying to develop that, and we're just working with, who is it, Rail Builders, or what's the? Horrocks, excuse me. Horrocks to find place where that crossing is going to be, so that affects his property, his development there. Yes, and I sent that, yes, that's the one we sent the latest.
I
You
sent
just-
him a bunch of updates.
You just downloaded that, the very latest one.
Uh,
And so there's several things that we don't have the answers for today. I apologize, but he's been kind of on hold for a couple of years, waiting for us to find this out. So I think we're on a good place to,
You guys. I don't know what.
It's that one right
Yeah.
there.
And-
There you go.
Sorry.
Not so bad.
then we have to wake up. You're hibernating, you're sleeping.
Thank you.
So anyway, I asked him, Jordan, to come and present he's got some ideas, and again, we won't be able to make the decision today, but I just want him to know that he's heard and that we are moving forward as quick as we can.
Thank you.
Laurie, this is the one that I sent you the very latest.
Yeah, I sent him a bunch of updates.
Well, this was the
Sorry,
last,
I'm fanatical with getting everything just right.
this is the last one, the final version. I sent that to you.
Mayor, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Watson with Triad Development. many of you are familiar with this project. We have another project coming before the city council on next month's agenda as well, so we appreciate the partnership with Pleasant View City. I was gonna say, I don't like being on that camera because I'm realizing how bald I'm going.
We can't
So
tell.
That's not a good angle for me. I'm going to kind of read through this because I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure that everyone's well educated on where we're at with this, but to get started, I'll show you the site that we're talking about. It's got the circle around it. This is the site of land directly north of the former charter school on Highway 89. You're probably familiar with. Yeah, if you'll go to the next slide. So yeah, I apologize for the reading, but I don't want to go off track here. I want to make sure we're all educated on this. So I want to give you a little bit of a historical timeline of this property. It was purchased October of 2024. At that point, the city explored the possibility of a future rail crossing and master roadway going through our property. And the city committed in faith to identify the exact rail crossing and master roadway location so that we would know if or how it would impact our property. The former city administrator proposed an affordable housing project on this property. We designed it, but residential was not well received by the planning commission or city council. The residential concept was abandoned and a commercial project similar to the surrounding area was proposed. And MCM zoning was unanimously approved by the planning commission and city council in October of 2025. We've designed a new project that meets CM zoning code, but it remains on hold because the city administration still hasn't been able to identify the exact location of the future rail crossing and master roadway. This uncertainty has continued for 18 months since our initial discussions, and actually 3 years since the city's master transportation plan was originally completed. So we're here today to propose a solution that I think solves this problem. It offers a land exchange, giving the city ownership and full control of the northwest quadrant of our property, the area preliminary designated for the future rail crossing and master roadway. And in exchange, we would receive a comparable city-owned property that enhances our project's design and functionality. This practical cooperative solution benefits both parties and allows development and infrastructure planning to proceed without further delay. So this drawing here shows our conceptual plan. And it shows the two properties that we're proposing in exchange for. Up in the top left, this is our property, developer-owned property. It's roughly 1.53 acres. And this is the site we're proposing the land exchange for that would give the city full ownership and full control of their design, timing, and implementation of the future rail crossing and master roadway. Down in the bottom corner, that's the city-owned property, roughly 1.02 acres. And the developer proposes a land exchange for this property that would relocate stormwater basin and vacate the dead-end roadway along the adjacent property boundary, improving project design and functionality. And after I'm done, we can talk a little bit about the specific design of the project, but this in reality is exactly what Dave Laloli was just talking about, bringing more businesses to Pleasant View City. These are very high demand type of flex units that small trades companies are trying to find in this area right now. Next slide, please. So we think this is a mutually beneficial solution to move forward. The public need has been solved. With the land exchange, the city now gets full control of that northwest quadrant. The future corridor is preserved. No future acquisition risk or cost to the city. No future development conflicts. Our project no longer conflicts with the city's master transportation plan. The future rail crossing and master roadway are removed from the project. Project can be designed around future alignment, and nothing built today would interfere later. And Union Pacific approval, from what we've been told and what we understand, is not a land use prerequisite. The rail crossing approval is an infrastructure issue. It may take years to resolve with Union Pacific, and is not required to approve a site plan. And cities routinely approve development adjacent to future infrastructure that is not yet engineered or budgeted. Last slide, thank you. So as next steps, we are respectfully asking the city administration, planning commission, and city council to allow the project approval process to move forward now, concurrent with the city's ongoing coordination with Union Pacific and Engineering. We believe the proposed land exchange demonstrates our commitment to working in partnership with Pleasant View City and finding practical solutions. We've secured the location of the future rail crossing and master roadway for the city and designed the project to avoid future conflicts. And at this point, we respectfully ask the project to be allowed to move forward under the city's existing zoning and development standards. So I hope, again, I apologize to just read slides. It's not typically how I like to operate, but I feel like there's a lot to unpack here to explain how we are where we are. It's discouraging, obviously, to kind of spin your wheels a little bit, feeling like you're at the mercy of this supposed railroad crossing. We understand the importance of that location to the city. It's going to unlock an enormous amount of potential west of the railroad tracks. But we also have a need, as this is our livelihood, to try to move forward with our project. So happy to answer any questions. Hopefully that context was accurate and made sense. But that's where we're at right now.
The land use or the land swap, but right now the proposal is just a straight across swap. Or
We're giving up about a half acre more than we're giving. I talked with the mayor about potentially looking at a few things like being able to utilize our impact fees to help relocate that city stormwater pond to the new location. Our engineers given us some rough estimates of what that might cost. We've done similar things like that on a few other projects far west. But yeah, in essence, we're really trying to find a way that this doesn't cost the city anything. And we've talked with the ombudsman's office about the situation, and they've pretty much said, like, according to land use law, unless the city is willing to buy it from you right now or take it eminent domain, then you really can move forward with your project. We're not trying to come off forceful like that. We're trying to find a solution that everybody wins. And truthfully, I mean, it would cost millions of dollars to buy the property outright. It's already MCM zone. That property goes for anywhere around $12 a square foot all day long. But we really feel like there's an option there for us to do a trade, and it costs the city nothing. So that land that we're asking to trade for, it's currently a stormwater basin. There's never been water in it. I think it may be connected to the stormwater that comes off of the charter school. We've had both our engineer and Dana look at it, and we've been told that it can be relocated to that northwest quadrant. It just makes a lot of sense to put it there, because when your road goes in, that'll be a dead piece of property. So it's just kind of smart planning to put it there. So yeah, just trying to find a solution. I know when developers stand up here and say, trying to find a solution that everybody wins, usually you guys believe that means we're trying to convince you of something so we can win. I think after proposing this and really showing it to several people, they see the value in the option.
So I just want to be clear, no decisions will be made today, of course. And
Yeah.
that's not what this is about. This is just I've talked with Jordan quite a bit about it. Again, no promises have been made either, but it's a win-win situation. I think we always need to look to that to be a win-win. I like this idea, and barring that we can move the stormwater or do some of those things, because that really isn't useful to the city necessarily, those pieces. It opens up that road off of Capstone that comes around that really would go through that. And the only other thing,
city own that, we own the road.
no, well, yes, we own the road that goes around Capstone.
There's like a little sliver that comes into our property that
Yeah,
I'm
been on, I
referring
just
to.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's,
The only question I have, and we don't know the answer yet, is exactly where they're gonna allow, but I don't think that road would be any further south because of the stacking of the trains. So I think the further north we can move it, the better we're going to be, and that's right. Because that part is, instead of going into the next parcel north, we have to have a stacking coming off of 89 as well. So that's kind of how that circular stacking that goes through the next property north, that's not on this paper here. we're gonna have to pretty much buy that next property outright to have the road come off 89, come through this.
Yeah,
And so, anyway, again, no decisions are made. I just wanted everybody to kind of look at it and see how we could both win-win. And anyways, I think Sarah's next. Sorry, I interrupted
Just,
Sarah.
no, you're looking at the situation stuff, my big, besides the input from the, the property owner and developer and stuff. Obviously, we would have our engineer and public works
Oh,
weigh in
Oh, of course.
on what would be the best, city manager, what would be the best situation.
But
That's all.
I just don't want to get in the way of things that make common sense. I don't know. Anyway, Dave, now go ahead.
yeah, I think it's a great concept. And I think it's good. I've seen it before, but, I think the question we have to answer is, where is this railroad crossing really gonna be? And get that moving,
Well, we are in that process
right?
of doing that. And
Yeah.
we've just hired what's the Horrocks to work with Union Pacific to identify that place.
And then who's gonna pay for the road and the crossing?
Well,
So-
we've got some WACOG funds to help
Okay.
us,
To me, those are the two questions.
those, and-
That would let me allow this to go. forward.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And that, but I don't, we're gonna be giving up some railroad crossings downstream. Because from what we've been told, Union Pacific has to have stacking so that they don't close down 2700. Those trains go all the way back to somewhere here. And I don't think it'll be anywhere south of that.
Probably doesn't make sense to go south.
It doesn't make sense. So, and if we outright buy that piece of property from them, then we're going to have an excess piece of property that's just gonna be weeds. So it allows him, this developer, to have something beneficial to the city in that part, and we still get our road. So I like it, and I think it's a good thing. So anyway, I'll give you 2 more minutes to close, or anybody ask any other questions? Again, we're not making any decisions. There's a lot left to go, for sure.
No, this is good that this has come forward because this has been ongoing for years.
Yes. And at some point, and I've asked Jordan, he says, Steve, what do we have to do? I mean, we're holding up developers here, or the money, not developers, we're holding up the development. And, do we have to take it to legal? Do we have to push that? And I said, please, let's not do that. Let's not go that route. Let's be men and talk it out with certain things that we don't, some of the unknowns I don't know. And that's where the whole problems come all together is, but we're in the process. We've moved forward. And again, I don't want it to take years. So I appreciate you bringing this forward. And I think this is it makes sense to me.
So if I may, appreciate that. It seems like this is where we get too often. It's like, oh, this makes sense. But it always comes back to, we don't know exactly where Union Pacific is going to give us the crossing. And that frankly terrifies me because we could just delay forever. Union Pacific does not care about Pleasant View City. They don't care, but those guys are huge. They control
Well,
their
it's
own-
clear with the front rank.
their own destiny.
Yeah.
They may never respond, they may respond in years. And so that's really challenging for us because the reason why we haven't just simply submitted for application, kind of forced our hand, force your hand. It's about $50,000 to $75,000 civil engineer this project. And so we don't want to spend $50,000 or $75,000, get in there, and then all of a sudden it blows up and we just wasted that money. And so kind of in this difficult middle place where we're trying to find ways to kind of give us both leverage to push forward, but also not spend any more money. And so I don't know what to do. We don't
Well,
want to address the legal side of it.
Let me tell you here, and I want to make a commitment because we're having 1 more minute here and then we're gonna tell you thank you and goodbye. But I wanted just a commitment that this is going to come to a close here soon.
Okay.
We're not pushing out another year. We need to make some big decisions. Hopefully we can get some preliminary stuff, but I like it.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. I don't think it's good, that crossing will not be further south. It's only gonna be further north.
Yeah.
And so I think I can live with something like this as long as we can move the stormwater and all those different things and come to conclusion, but we're not gonna put you off any
Thank you.
more than we have. I'll make that commitment
I
from,
appreciate
from
that.
Steve Gibson as mayor. And I can't speak for the city council, but I appreciate you bringing this forward. At least it opens their eyes as to what's going on.
Yeah, one final thought for you. If we were able to do the trade for that northwest quadrant, I think the city actually has some leverage to go to Union Pacific and say, this is a city-owned property within the area of where we preliminary think this crossing should happen. And I think there's a high likelihood that Union Pacific will make it work. Versus right now, it's just kind of like, you guys don't own the property. And so that's sort of the thought is like, if you guys actually owned that, if we did a trade and you guys could go and say, we have this site right on the railroad tracks where our engineers have told us the road needs to go for stacking. I think that it gives the city a higher likelihood of getting that approved. Whereas Union Pacific right now might be looking at it like, oh, the city doesn't even have any property along the line to even do this. And so that's one thought. I don't know how the politics of Union Pacific work.
Have you talked with them?
No,
I would
I
think
don't-
that would be kind of important, but.
No,
well,
that-
it's on
that-
you- it's your guys'
That's
cross.
that's on our shoulders, not on his.
Yeah, I don't,
Question about that though, is I know they're buying property, especially for their, are they still trying to widen it all around there?
we've been told that UTA is interested in buying property, but honestly, like, I felt like we met with UTA. I thought the UTA proposal would further jeopardize not only our development, but the city's road plan. So I don't think selling to UTA is a good idea. And I've also been told that the front runner expansion could be 30 years away. And so, I don't know, that stuff along railroad tracks is interesting.
Yeah, I just know they're, and maybe it's UTA that's doing it, but they're
Yeah.
buying property.
They want to have a right of way, UTA. All right, well, thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you coming.
He drives a tough schedule.
I know.
We're not,
Okay.
we're not messing around. Saturdays are a special day. Today we do everything else. All right, Stetson, I put you in a little bit here. Yeah,
Turn the mic back.
this is,
Right, the new song.
Other day, it doesn't rhyme.
all right. Stetson, I'm gonna give you just a couple minutes for your proposal.
Okay, so I just wanted to throw this out there. Steve made the comment the other day. You know, he wants to get things done and identify projects and things that we could do to help us and make a difference. So this just happened, Thursday, and I just wanted to throw it out there and kind of see everybody's thoughts and feelings. If it's something we want to look at a little bit closer, I'm willing to do it. But the other night, our guys went on like a trespass or something down here at the old, that bank daycare
America for,
thing right there on Pleasant View Drive. And, sorry, my voice is kind of weird. I've got all that gas in my lungs from that SWAT call out last night, but so the guys went down there, they cleared it, they came back and they're like, hey, you know, obviously we're outgrowing this building. Like, we ought to look at that building and see if the people that own it, like, what are their plans with it? It was a daycare, can't remember what else has been there, but nothing's really worked out. We ought to see what their plans are with it, what they want to do with it, if they'd be interested in selling it, and we could maybe renovate it and make a PD out of it. And so I kind of thought, well, is it for sale? We looked, it's not. I ended up getting a hold of the the property owner and talked to him. He said they're not really interested in selling, and I kind of told him what I was thinking, like, hey, you know, we just went and cleared it. We got looking at it and thought, oh, I wonder if we could, you know, renovate it, make it a PD. And he actually was like, oh, you know, we'd probably be interested in that. We would probably consider that. And so I have no idea on the exact price. He thought, you know, somewhere between, you know, mid to upper 500s, 550 to 600,000 to buy it, and then probably another couple $100,000 to renovate, you know, gut it and build a PD. Obviously, we're outgrowing this building. I think both sides of the office are stacked on top of each other, and we're pretty crammed in here. I just kind of, I don't know, when Steve made those comments the other day, and our mayor made those comments the other day, that kind of popped up, called that guy and had that conversation, and I just thought I would throw it out there today. kind of get everybody's thoughts on something like that, if that's something
Purchase it.
we would consider purchasing that building and renovating it and making it a Pleasant View Police Department. The size on it, we're not experts at that, but I think we're using about 17 to 1,800 square feet now for the police department. And the building's 2,800,
Yeah.
so. I think it's,
Drop marker, right? What are you
yeah.
talking about? Bill Bank.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of, I just wanted to throw that out there and just kind of see if it's something that how we would go about doing it if we decided we did, or if it's even a possibility, or if not, I get it. I just a thought I had, and
I have a
thought
question for
this
you.
is a good opportunity to throw it out there.
So long-term, when you're thinking long-term, you definitely need bigger space. I totally agree. And
Yeah.
right off the bat, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, that'd be amazing. But is it best for you to be next to city offices? Like, we're talking about going down by Pleasant View or down 1,000, In the long run, would you really rather be right next to the city offices, or is that really not a big deal?
I don't know. You see all different kinds of them. You see some police departments are not right next to their city offices, and some are. I've never really heard either way if that affects them
Good question though.
very much. But
And I mean, I'm not saying like, I'm just thinking long-term, short-term, yeah, maybe we do that. We could sell it again and, but
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what's the big picture?
yeah,
And not that that can be a stepping stone if the big picture is different.
yeah,
Just,
yep,
you guys need more space.
It
Yeah.
would be interesting to see the cost to, fit it for a police department too. I mean, obviously we're outgrowing this building as far as the needs for court, police, city staff, and recreation and all of that things. And so if it, cost wise, and could you get grants, could you get state funding, all of those
Yeah.
things for that, so.
yeah. I know there are some grants and stuff out there for stuff like that you can apply for. And like I said, I don't know the exact cost. I mean, they just went down there on Thursday and we kind of got
That's
talking
cool.
about it, thought about it, but. And again, I see like, it could be a short-term thing, could be a long-term thing. I don't know where we're at on a new building or a new police department, if we're thinking that's 30 years away, 20 years away, or, I think this is a pretty cheap way to get to expand, and it's probably a pretty safe investment, I imagine. I'm not a real estate guy, but most people don't lose very much money on that, so. Anyways,
Does it have a basement?
I don't think so.
It's not super.
No, it's just one.
Could we put a basement? Could we have a vault down?
Could you add?
It actually, one good thing is it does have a great big vault, which could be used for evidence already, so,
Because it was a bank.
because it's a bank, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I appreciate you bringing that forward. I mean, this is what these sessions are, really, is a look forward to see what's possible, see what sticks. So I appreciate you looking forward and coming up with some thinking outside the box. I think that's important.
Quick idea to stack on that though, like if it did have a vault, could we take the stuff that's vaulted in Pleasant View rec building, vault it there and then take that down? Like we've been trying to take that down for a long time. Just a thought.
Just for parking, is that your thing?
Well, we could always use that space over there for rec or other things like, the old city building over there.
Use the building, you're saying not get.
No, get rid of the building.
You might be able to get rid of the building too.
Well, I don't want, I'm not saying get rid of that building, but we just.
Or renovate that,
repurpose it, re-renovate it a little, maybe.
make it a better recreation spot. Right now it's kind of,
Pretty bad inside.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so,
Yeah.
so, this is just my initial thoughts on this. I mean, I know Stetson's trying to, do stuff good for the department and look for opportunities there, but the whole purpose of us getting this other building or looking toward this other building was to free up this building for space.
Yeah.
We have a huge amount of space downstairs that's not being used, and if we make that more of a cultural type of place and open this up, this has huge amount of possibilities in this building for a lot of years to use in this building. And when you think of 500,000 or even $1 million probably to retrofit that building, useful, putting that toward a new building and take care of this one is way farther ahead, and
Yeah.
I don't wanna say no to that, because I'm just think, that to me, that's what makes sense to me. And on top of that, I feel like the whole staff here is a team, and we need to be closer together, and we need to be more frequent together. That's my thought, so.
A question on kind of the longer, on other facilities that the city has that provide services. Are there other facilities that are coming that are bulging at the seams? Like this building over here, I don't know this one, or other city services or other places that is there anything we gotta consider? That's coming up in the next
Well,
5, 10
Public
years?
Works is expanding down in the lower part too, so there's opportunity there, if that's what you're asking.
I just was curious, I hadn't thought about it much, but yeah, as the city grows, these services are going to grow with them. So thinking ahead of where's the next, like, where is it we're gonna feel the pain the most, Rose? Where are the facilities or services gonna feel the most pain?
Amen. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, yeah. Anyway, let's leave it at that for now. We'll put that on our list of goals in a minute. Sean,
Okay. Laurie, I emailed something, it was, if you wanna bring it up, you're welcome to, go through that. So I had a meeting a few weeks ago with Andrea and Tyson. We went on a nice tour of the city and just talked through the public works side, and then Andrea and I met with Tammy to talk through the planning side. I just wanted to get an idea of how things are done, processes, and what are the pinch points, and what are we struggling with, and what are the good things. So I have just a summary here, some bullet points I want to go through and talk through that quickly. So, meeting with Andrea and Tyson, one of the first things that we identified is that we are currently, for applications that we receive for land use, we are currently doing a public works and engineering review for applications, which is it's not something we need to be. Engineering can do that review with input from Tyson and save Tyson the time. But I mean, off the bat, we can take all of that off Tyson's plate. There's no need for it, because he and Dana should be talking about the exact same things with roads and stormwater and all of the infrastructure involved in these different developments. So that was one thing that became very clear.
maybe
So-
some of it, that's good.
That's great.
And Tyson, he's got other things that he's working on. So we're talking about like the stormwater audit and other important things. And part of the conversation was he feels like he's being pulled back to doing things that maybe don't matter as much, that could be done by other people or in other ways. And I think that's true. So I think there are some things we can do there to free up his time to focus on some of the bigger issues that we're having, and not on the day-to-day reviews necessarily. One of the biggest issues, this is both in planning and engineering, but we don't have a functional project tracking system, unless I'm wrong. We're using Bluebeam, and we're using spreadsheets that people are just making themselves. We are in the Stone Age, is what it comes down to. So unless we have someone specifically dedicated to tracking those projects and entering things in spreadsheets, and that is their sole function, which it's not, it's only work. And Mayor, I think that's why we're getting the complaints that we're getting.
Talking about just development projects.
The
mostly.
development
Well,
projects,
Tammy
that's
does those
more.
all,
Well,
and
that's
also,
part
so that's part of
Yeah,
what
I'll
I
get
want to talk
to
about too.
Tammy's is really the big one, but for Tyson or Tammy or others who are supposed to be doing other things, to be spending their time tracking projects and sending out the reviews, so they can get the reviews back, so they can say that so-and-so reviewed it and enter that information in their spreadsheet. They're gonna spend all day. That's a full-time job. So we either need staff, which I don't think is the solution. I think we need software. Weaver County has its own system. It's called Frontier. Everything is then online through that system. Emails are automatically generated and sent out. The applicants upload their information back in. When information is uploaded, it's emailed back. I mean, there is no manual entry required by the staff unless we're just putting notes in the system or something like that. But I think that's something we need to look into. That would take a huge burden off our staff. So when we're looking at how we can improve and how we can become more efficient, we need to look at that. Yes, there is cost involved.
But there's also costs
Sean, this
involved.
is huge.
Yeah,
What's the
Yeah.
name of the software?
well, ours is Frontier, but Weaver County created
It's
that.
private-
So,
private.
But there's,
Gotcha.
you know, if you can look at Open Hub, or you can look at Tyler, or you can look at, there are
A myriad
hundreds
of things,
these out there. Now, we have, what do we use, Civic something?
Civic Plus.
No, we use, City Inspect.
City Inspect.
We're building permits, but I was just going to throw in a couple things. Sorry, there's currently a bill that's running in the legislature about cities having to have the ability for applicants to submit electronically. So that passes, we're going to have to institute or implement something that allows people to submit electronically versus doing paper over the counter. That's just, it can be required, and it looks like, you know, that bill's going forward. So something that we're going to be required to do anyways could help us in this type of situation.
On-
Tammy and I met last week with, GovWell, and their system, Tammy and I were very impressed by it. So we have a call this coming Monday for them to go through an actual demo on it, but we asked a lot of these questions about uploading, about it auto emailing applicants, everybody being able to go in and make notes on it. And it all functionality that we had, questions about this particular software addressed.
Yeah, so that was really my biggest takeaway. One of my comments here under meeting with Tammy and Andrea, Tammy keeps her own spreadsheets and tracks paper applications manually. If she leaves and somebody else has to come in and they don't understand what's on her spreadsheet, we're stuck for a few weeks until somebody figures it out. And in the meantime, people are gonna be calling and upset. And I mean, it's a bad situation that will just perpetuate itself if we don't fix it. So that's, when you're saying, what can we do in the near term to really fix an issue of efficiency? I think this is one of the things that one of the other things that was brought up, we have our DRC meetings, but I'm told there are no recording minutes from those meetings. And I think it's imperative that we have that. It's nice to talk about things, but if the developer comes out of that meeting and says, no, that wasn't said, it's our word against their word, and that just becomes a problem. I think those things should be recorded, so there's no question about what was said, the direction that was given, and the responses from the developers. We also should have minutes, and those minutes should be sent out to everyone involved in the meeting. Everyone gets a chance to review and make comments, and then those stand as what happened in the meeting. I think that's really important. We've got to have records of the conversations that we have. Let's see, phone calls and email responses and front counter questions. That's a full-time job in itself. When I talked to Tammy, she said, you know, I'll go out to lunch or whatever, and I'll come back and I'll have 15 voicemails. And she's not lying, because I've been there. I've been in her shoes doing the exact same job. And I would literally leave and go to lunch and come back, and the dreaded red light would be on. I would spend the next hour just writing down the phone calls that had come since I left for lunch. It's a full-time job just responding to phone calls and emails. And then when people come to the front counter, want to get good customer service, so you're gonna spend time up there. So for Tammy, just to get administrative part of her job done, and get the staff reports put together and packets out the planning commission. I mean, she's just spending all of her time on that, which leaves no time for the long range plan. Looking at ordinances, looking at updating the general plan. So when we have applications that come in, like this the one we had on Tuesday. I know it's gone to the commission, but I'm not sure how much time Tammy's actually had to review that and make a recommendation, because her recommendation was basically, if you think it's a good idea, go ahead. But she doesn't have time to look into, how is this going to affect the city? Have I talked to Tyson? Do I know what issues are going to be with roads and with water in that area, and with sewer and storm drain? How it's really going to, if we allow these patio homes to come in, how's this really going to affect us? There was no review. And that's part of my issue. As a planner, certified planner, there was no planning put in that proposal. And in my mind, it just can't move forward. So we need to, that's a staffing issue though. Because even with this software solution, there's enough that's coming in that will keep Tammy busy with just the subdivisions, the conditional use permits, and the easement vacations and whatever else she's. If we could have, even if it's somebody part-time that's strictly working on planning with her. I know there are other people in the office, but doing other things, they're working with the court, or they're, whatever it is, they all have different responsibilities. And there's more work to go around than there are people for right now. So even if we start with somebody part-time that can take on some of those administrative tasks and take those off her plate, so she can actually start doing planning instead of just responding to current applications, that's huge. So that gives her time to look at the land use code, to look at the general plan. We can start just methodically working our way through what we need to change. That's kind of my summary of what I had, other than I do want to say that we have a very capable and professional staff, and they do a great job. They're overwhelmed right now. And, you know, for what they have to work with, and this is not a knock on anything. I just think it's not something that has been pushed to the forefront with getting up to date with technology and how some of this software can help. They're doing a great job with what they have. So are there things in our process that can be fixed? You bet. And Andrea and I, we can talk a little bit more about some of those small things, but overall, I don't think it's a problem with the work our staff is doing. It's a problem with they don't have the time to do the work they're asked to come.
So Sean, I think that that presentation was exactly what I wanted to come out of this meeting.
Okay.
And I appreciate you running for city council to fill that need and that expertise. That's exactly what I wanted, because that represents some real fixes to free up Tyson. I love that. Let's do that. And that's gonna be, I've got that first thing on my list of the things to do is to look at that. And, you know, anything electronic that doesn't have to be done. I mean, if that could take that process from 2 weeks to a couple hours.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And absolutely, I want to hire another person in the front. That is absolutely what we have to do. We need help with the communication part, whether it be our website or whatever. So they're gonna have to wear a few hats, but that person that you're talking about, hand me out, we have to have that. And so that's on you guys to spend some money.
Could we consider that if it's not just planning, but also to help with other things?
Well,
More of a full-time person rather than part-time.
So
because that's a lot to ask for a part-time.
I'm not, I want to stick on planning here for a minute, but I have tasked the staff and Andrea to come up with how they can readjust those ladies. Shed off something here, shed off something here, take on something here, move staff to different places. I don't want to go into too much detail because they're working on that right now to see where some things fit. And so there will be some changes, but it is going to generally require a new person, whether it be 2 part-time, 3/4 time, a full-time person. It's gonna be some money.
Yeah, it will.
And that, amen, he said, but Sean, thank you. That was exactly why you were tasked with that job, because I feel like you really understand it. And I love it. And those recommendations, I think we will, right? I mean, am I?
Yeah.
Pretty much took
100%.
everything.
Okay. All right, perfect. Let's go off of that. Johnny.
Yes, I put a whole bunch of things on here. I'm obviously going to really focus in and narrow down to a few. But to give context, my personal life, my job is, I recently, back in August, I took on a new position as the president of the Manufacturing Association in the state of Utah. And what that represents is all the manufacturing that goes on in the state. There's over 5,000 registered primary manufacturers in the state. And that gives me, what it does though, is it gives me access to see from a statewide view what is happening from a major part of the state's GDP, which the manufacturing world is. We work with so many different planners and economic development people to see what is happening across the state. And it gives me access and visibility to places that are doing it right and places that are not doing it right when it comes to the economic development of cities, counties, and just overall the state. And so I took that view and I started to ask myself, this is just all of these points are just things that I started to think through, but I want to go specific. Current economic identity. Is our identity here in Pleasant View? I'll let you think about that. And what I mean, think about that. But what I mean is, in a lot of ways and in a lot of cities, it has been defined from years and years of decisions. And so there's things that we can do and there's things that we just can't because of decisions that were made previously. So identifying what we can work with and what we can't just because of decisions that are made. For example, it's probably not likely that we're going to change a bunch of the existing roadways to enhance economic development, right? The roads are there, the infrastructure is built. There's not a lot that we can do to change that. So open space and what we have available is the decisions we face that those 20 years ago faced at some of these places that we no longer can make a decision on. So it kind of brings some weight to it to say, oh man, the decision I'm making today is going to impact 20 years, 40, 100 years from now. And so we're lucky in that I think some cities already have no decision power in the infrastructural piece. They're more dealing with what they have which is very limited boxes. For us, we've got quite a bit of flexibility in some of our open spaces, but if you look at the overall map from an economic standpoint, some of the things that have happened more recently, I think are worth pointing out, which goes to point number, it's point number 13. I'm gonna go all the way to 13. I asked the question, what 3 communities in the state of Utah that were previously similar in size to where we are right now in Pleasant View, and then have moved forward with their decisions, what 3 city areas have done it right? I'm curious, I wanna give some thought to that for a second. I'm gonna ask, I mentioned it here, Farmington, that was brought up, and that was on my list. Anybody else have any? I had it too. Anybody else?
I want to say St. George.
St. George, all the way down to St. George. Yeah. And if you think about, and then the other one that I had is happening very similar to ours, Spanish Fork. And if you think about that, so the situation that we're in where we do have history and we already have infrastructural built, those same communities had it as well, right? We're not some of the ones that are happening like Harriman and out that way where they had nothing and all of a sudden have to build it right now, right? I don't think we're in that situation. I think we're much more closely aligned with those we just mentioned. Farmington, Lehigh, Spanish Fork, St. George, definitely. Yeah, Logan, if you jump to Logan, yeah. So as you drive those, what was it? Now do a quick SWOT analysis with me. Strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. What do we have in front of us that those communities figured out already? What strengths do we have, first of all, that they probably aligned with us to? What are our strengths here?
We're just talking economic.
Yeah, economic strength in Pleasant View. What is it?
Well, yeah, what I think about Pleasant View is like, hey, most everybody, and this is a bedroom community that everybody wanted to come here to live, right? Well, we preserved an open space now, luckily, that's been preserved, that could be commercial and manufacturing space. And we've got the roads, the railroad, the
Good balance, right?
everything that could be used for any of that. I mean, because a long time ago, a few years ago, we talked about this a little bit, but could we be more of an office space type of a community, or should we be more of a manufacturing warehouse type community? And I think we kind of naturally gravitated towards that's where we're going, is that manufacturing warehouse type, but that's just.
I would say the affluency of our community, the
Yeah.
education, the household median
Yep.
income, we have
Yep.
the resources with the people who live here who are, if you look at our demographics, they're over average for the household median income. And we have the population to sustain the retail and the manufacturing and sector, so that we're not traveling elsewhere to spend our tax dollars. But that's definitely a strength that we need to capture to have them use that here.
I think one of our strengths too is we kind of have like this buffer, like we have our bedroom community here and then we can have our like busyness down here. Like that is a
That
strength
is a
that we
strength,
have.
Yeah.
for sure. Any other strengths, economic strengths you mentioned? We have we have the I-15 corridor. We're kind of lucky that we're right close to that. Even though we don't have that direct access off of the 15, we're immediately right there as soon as you get off though. And similar to what happened if you think of the communities that have that, where as soon as you get off the freeway, you go east to get to some point east, right? So if you've driven to Point of the Mountain, where Thanksgiving Point, and then you have a very similar corridor that goes from there to Highland and up into Alpine American Fork, right? You have that corridor that draws all those people to it, and they pass all of the economic stops along the way. It feels very similar to that. A little bit of that's in Draper, kind of you get off of the freeway, then you head north to go up into the Draper area. And then, so if you think about those I agree, those are all the strengths. Weaknesses. What's our weaknesses? What are they economically here? I think it was brought up here, we don't have enough residential, enough traffic. We don't have enough to support the.
Interesting you say that though, because within a mile of us, everybody passes us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everybody's on I-15, everybody's on Highway 89 and railroad and
2700.
2700. I mean, everybody in the state passes us, so.
I feel like,
Couldn't finish.
I
We need to
agree.
Get them off the freeway here.
And I think this is it's not necessarily a weakness or like it's not like a knock against this. It's more about time. We just need more time to develop out some of those areas and the growth that's happening right now. But we will run into that at some point, there'll be no more space for residential, right? Even here or in North Ogden, that'll draw people that direction. North Ogden has a bunch of open spaces still, and we have some. But at some point, that will kind of cut off and will be what it is at that point. Any other weaknesses that you would say that we have in our area economically? Go ahead.
Well, the weakness, again, with our growing community, we have amazing staff, we have amazing resources here, but we really have to provide for the needs of the growing community. Because as we grow, our staffing hasn't, our support hasn't. And that's definitely, it's going to become a weakness, where it's going to fall apart if we don't do something about it.
Maybe said a different way, I would say it this way, that if we're expecting growth to happen and we become the inhibitor of that growth because we can't get things done, we can't get the applications done, we can't build the infrastructure fast enough,
Services,
Yeah. then we become a weakness there because we can't respond to that.
We don't have a center.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah, we're all nodding.
Center, and as I talked to Dave Bailey, he mentioned the same thing too. We don't have a city center. We don't have any place. It's just that where it just sucks everything is all spread out, and so that whole is weak because it's not a center.
Yeah.
And I've talked to Brett Bailey a little bit. He wants to do this industrial thing out there at Point North. And I feel like that's a mistake a little bit, because if Target comes in, that whole area will be able to blow up. And if it's all tilt-up buildings that he wants, is that a missed opportunity for
Yes.
something central? But I mean, the developers pushback. Daylily, that I hope will be something nice. Better than the brush.
Well,
But-
the conversation they have with us is
Go for
important.
it, you know, that area up there, she has no plan for that. She just wants housing, park, that's all she wants. With maybe a gas station on the corner, and then just have. So, you know, that 600s, 2700 could be a nice center, because, you know, the ER owns the east of that. So, yeah, anyways, the center, we don't have a center.
I agree. Any other weaknesses pop up from anybody else? Okay, so that always leads to the opportunities, which for us, we're blessed that we've got, we're not limited to the choices that we can make. And then, and so I think for opportunity wise, we're in a good position where a tremendous amount of good work has been done to get us to this point. And allows us to have some flexibility about what we do with that open space. So I think that's an opportunity. I think we have opportunity to consider the, you know, there are a few, when it comes to the economical side of things, getting the right balance between all that's an opportunity for us. Talk about the threats. What threats do we have as far as if we want our plans if we envision this, this balance of the residential and the commercial and everything else, the threats that will push up against that. One of them you brought up already was that we get too much of one thing and not enough, not a good balance that will support it. The state coming in and saying, does he say that? Yeah.
It's true. It's
Good,
true.
so
It's
true.
the legislature control that they take away from our ability to create a community that we want to see.
Yeah. I was, this is in a way, a threat had happened, it happened, but maybe in a good way. When the decision was made to put this big center in Far West with Target being the center point, that was out of our control in a way because it wasn't in our property, it wasn't within our sandbox to play in. But that itself, the domino effect from that, we will be feeling forever, right? When that decision was made and that's finally now done, if indeed it does go forward, then now we're competing against, they've already grabbed that anchor. Now we're competing against people when they get off that freeway, they'll go to that, or the growth, if you think about all these areas, said Farmington, Spanish Fork, and Lehigh, it's gonna go east, west, or south from there, right? Of where they're probably, who knows, Far West could be having the same meeting we're having and thinking that they're gonna go west with this, like having these maps laid saying, we're gonna build all that west.
There's a ton of property right by that.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
there's a whole bunch of property there that could happen.
Yeah, so now we're in a position, I think we're better suited because we have the infrastructure already built, that we want to instead say, no, come our way first, right? So we've got to be able to take advantage of this moment economically. And before we start, if we take too long, if we're not on the cutting edge of that, then we're going to lose out to somebody who maybe is more hungry for that, or will be more willing, or maybe has a better process to make that happen. And so, or it can continue to go north, but we already know that just points, it bottlenecks itself out, so that won't work. So I do think that's what we have to think about from the economic drive. One other point, from a large state perspective. You've got the Wasatch Front, and you think about, you really can't go east and west because you got the mountains to the east, you got the lake to the west. And so all those millions of people that are going to be moving into our state in the next 10 years, they're going to hit, and it's going to push. And we're like Spanish Fork in that regard. They're the furthest south that's feeling the growth. We are the next area that's feeling that growth coming this way. And so that's all part of this as well. Where else can they go? They can go west, Weber, but that eventually hits the lake too.
Yeah, I mean, the freeway going north now, the west corridor is really, that's, I think, the next really big opportunity for anybody in Weber County is, I mean, right now, it's pretty much to the Davis County, Weber County line, there's plant there.
Yep.
So that's a big next step.
Yeah.
Maybe a kind of a threat, watching, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and thank you. Again, that was exactly the direction I want this to go. The bigger picture for us is I want to be Pleasant View leading out with it. I have asked Ryan and Harrisville Mayor, I can't remember his name right this second. But Schuman, yes. I've asked them to have a council representative from each one of those cities to have this tri-city economic development area with Johnny leading this out. Because, and we might include Far West, those little punks down there, I don't. I say that, Andrew, she's not even listening to me. But,
Pretty tough on part of us.
yes,
So-
but I want us to take these principles that you're talking about with the private partnership to lead this out. To make, because Riverdale, Ogden, Roy, we're kind of the forgotten bastards to the north. And this is where the growth is going to come. This is where the strength is going to come. And we, exactly what you said, perfect. We need to identify that. And this is the next step. We've been built on our forefathers all the times before, but now we have an opportunity to go forward. We've set, for the last 12 years, we've set a lot of stages. We've identified places. We've done the right things, I think, but we just haven't had that. A lot of these cities have economic development places where they go out and search for the people to bring them in. We don't have that staff. We don't have that. We're relying on developers. We're relying on zoning. We're relying on our limited vision for the future to be able to have that in. So thank you for that. I think that's a great start.
Can I make one comment on that? So I think one of the questions we ought to be asking is, what do the residents of Pleasant View expect? What do they want? I think for years and years, and where we are right now, is that nobody wanted any of that, right? And maybe that's changed a little bit, but we've been lucky enough to preserve stuff. We could have both worlds, I think is what I'm saying.
Well, and I moved here 30 years ago for the residential component. But we all know the sales tax revenue is the driving force for what we need to get a new police department, to get a new cultural department. Those things require money. Fix the roads. So we have to embrace some revenue sources coming in unless we raise taxes, which.
But there's a point, I think it's important also to continually reach out to the residents through Google survey, in communication, Google surveys, Survey Monkey, these free resources to get feedback.
And that's true, but one of the strengths, just like Johnny talked about and Ann talked about, is we do have, the hillside is residential. We're not touching that. We have these other areas that are kind of with boundaries of 89, of 2700, this little corridor 2700, 2550, that are those areas we've identified as commercial. So anyway.
Can I ask Johnny a question here, though? Maybe, you probably don't know the answer to this, but what really is beneficial for us financially on tax basis wise? I don't really know if it's better for us to have retail or if it's better for us to have manufacturing space. And when it comes to property tax and tax on equipment, I mean, I don't know all that, but I think that ought to be a big part of it. What's a better income for us as a city and less infrastructure cost or support cost, that kind of.
Can I take that back as an assignment to go
Yeah.
research it out and spend time with those who know also?
Ask the staff to show you the study that we did do some years ago that identified exactly what Dick was just asking. It's been a while, but we did pay a lot of money for the study that came back that showed us where we were leaking out our tax dollars and what we needed to catch those.
Okay.
And so staff has that. So.
To me, that, I mean, it's like, if it's low cost for us to have more manufacturing as it's to support as a city, but we get more income off of that.
Yeah.
That would help me make a decision, so, anyway, thanks, that's really good stuff.
Yeah, Ann.
Okay, Laura, I've got a. So, I've been tasked with some communication, upgrades, if you will. So from the research I've done, and maybe I'll just let you guess a little bit, but when it comes to like, people who are on Facebook, how many people do you think are getting their information from Facebook? About our city? I mean, I don't have a solid answer.
Do you want me to give?
Depends on who you ask too.
It's on the class, but it does.
What do you think we hit, 10%? I think 10%. How many people are you?
Yeah, I think in 10%, you got 900 people on
Well,
Facebook pages.
if
I-
you-
Out
if
of-
you
out
go
of
to school,
12,000.
I think you-
I also think it depends on which age group you talk to.
Yes.
Like my kids aren't on Facebook as much as they are on Instagram or whatever else, right? So kind of depends on that too.
And we're on both, but yeah.
Yeah, so Laurie, go to the next slide here, or can you make that presentation mode?
For some reason when she's.
It's okay if you can't, not a big deal. It's okay if you can't. There you go. Okay, go to the next one there. Okay, so right now, our current modes of communication, Facebook, website, we're mailing a newsletter and then we're emailing a newsletter. So when we email the newsletter, it's going out with our city bill, it's not paying their city bill online. Okay, and then there's some people who don't even get a city utility bill. So anyone who's in the stations, Pole Patch, the barn, the trailer parks, those guys are all on one utility bill, just one. So those people don't get a utility bill. So they're, well, I guess they've requested to get their newsletter mailed to them separately, okay? Because they're not on our email list and through the utilities.
Can they opt in for the
No.
list too?
If you're not, if you don't have a utility bill, you cannot opt into our email system. Okay, good question. And then I think our city signs being unutilized, if you ask me, but I mean, that's another area we can grow there. So 925 people in Pleasant View who don't get a utility bill, okay? So we go to a third party and ask them to print out our newsletter and mail it out, okay? And that's not with the utility bill, this is, I've separated it out. So we spend about $909 per month on someone understanding just our newsletter, just getting our newsletter.
Wow, who puts them together? Is our staff,
It's lost.
they're assembling them, everything?
No, third party.
We have a third party that puts.
They
them-
create it, but they send it out.
Yep,
printed.
we send it out to Watkins, yep, up in Logan, and so they print it, they stuff it, they mail it, they do the labels, all that.
Who creates it?
We create it here.
Brianna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then if we're sending a utility bill already, then we put a newsletter with it, and that's the 1849. Okay, but in my mind, we kind of have this 900 to work with per month. Because I don't think that sending a newsletter out, just mailing it is the most effective way, but that's, I mean, that's what I'm gonna talk to you about, okay? So I looked at 5 different solutions, okay? Our West is using Penny. I looked at them, they are, I like a little bit more than a penny, but, they are a full solution. So they wanna do your website, they wanna do your utility billing, they wanna do everything, okay? I think we're already beyond that. We have a brand new website. And they didn't really want to like piecemeal us in. They want to do the whole picture. So for me, they're off the table. Okay. Okay. So the next one. The next one's GoGov, and they have quite a few cities that they are working with. Hang on, I'm gonna pull up, I updated my presentation. I got a little bit more information on my slides here. Just quickly. Okay, so go.gov, they are a branded app, so they will actually like, hang on, I gotta turn on my closed caption, it drives me nuts. They're a branded app, so you have to download their app, okay? I think that's a negative in my opinion. I think some people don't want another app on their phone, but that's just my opinion. It's one-way communication. It does say, you can name anything you want, so it could be Pleasant Views, you know, whatever. They have applets on there, so in other words, if you pull up your app in your phone, you can like go to the 10 most things that people visit on our website. So you can go like pay my utility bill, you can go in and do like recreation, so you can have your top 10 things there. Unlimited, you can have unlimited push notifications, but no texting. So you'd have to like, you know, your phone would pop up and say, you have a notification, okay? Anyway, you can have some text messages, but they charge you extra for that. This is $5,800 annually, and they still have, you have a 1-year commitment. Anyway, marketing is included in the price. I don't think this is a bad idea if you want to go a branded app, and it's not my first idea, but it may be a fallback idea. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to tell you a little bit about it. Then Civic Plus is the other one that's up there. They actually are the ones who help us with our website, right, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. So they also have an app that you would have to do with notifications. They can send some emails. They'll automatically post to Facebook. It is a one-way communication. They'd waive our implementation fee, and you can do some add-ons and stuff. Theirs was $6,000 a year, but again, you have to download an app. So I guess when I asked around to people, like, do you want another app on your phone? People are kind of like, I don't want another app on my phone, you know, and I don't want to receive notifications that way. So again, an option, but this is a 1-year commitment, $6,000 a year for them.
So-
The,
Steve showed me the North Ogden, or Ogden City's
That
app.
was that go.
let's go Gov.
That is GoGov,
Mhm.
okay, cause they have Civic Plus, I believe they have Civic Plus as their website
Website.
provider,
Yeah.
so.
It is definitely an option. And yeah, I'm not saying that we don't have to do it. Last minute, I was talking to Debbie Thursday, and she told me about Manaway's doing Text My Gov, okay? It's owned by iWorks, which we use with our public works and stuff like that. Theirs is a widget. It's not an app. It's like a chat bot, okay? So you just get a text. You just get a text.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
you
opt
can
in.
put like, you opt in, put something on your website that says, hey, I wanna join this. It's almost like what Weaver County School District uses, right? So when the teachers notify like the parents or the students, it's a one-way communication. And basically it would just say something like, hey, Easter candy grab is Friday, and if you want more information,
Check the
click on this.
website.
So is it kind of like
Website
Remind?
details.
It's kind of like Remind in their,
Yeah,
yeah.
remind
So,
that, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I actually really like this idea, although I don't think that everybody, you know, texting would drive people crazy. They do have templates that are available. You can schedule things ahead of time. I like that. You can make subgroups and geofencing. So like if you wanna just, nobody wants to hear about recreation if their kids aren't in recreation. So you can say like, let's narrow it down to people who want that. You opt in for different things, okay? You can do geofencing, so you can say like, if the water's gonna be out in this neighborhood, let's just text that neighborhood. Okay,
You
so
can
I like that.
polls on there,
What's it called?
polls and all of that.
This one's
too.
called Text My Gov. Sorry, it's not on this PowerPoint, kind of this, last minute thing that I heard about. So, let's see what else. You are limited to 160 characters per text, and there's no, like, you can't put graphics or anything with it. You can't make it look cute, but you can like go to the link and it can be, you know, graphic there. So their plan is 6,800 annually, and you have a 75,000 text message, like, bank, so to speak. If someone replies to you, that does take a text away from you, like if they, oh, great, I'm coming.
You're not talking about constant.
No, not yet.
Text my go.
Text my Gov, yep. So, if you go over, you can add more texts, like you can add 25,000 more texts for 300. And if you don't use them, it'll roll or bank to the next year, okay? So basically, they do have a bit of an implementation fee, but we're basically looking at like $6,800 annually on theirs, okay? I like this idea too, honestly. But I think the one that I'm going to say that I think we want to look at the most serious is Constant Contact. For one, the cost on it is so minimal, like it doesn't cost much. You can do emails and you can pay extra for texting. So like when I asked around to people, would you rather do an email or text? Pretty split. Some people are like, I'd rather have an email, some people I'd rather have text. So you could do both, okay? I got the key features here, but like they do have AI creation, so you can go in and just say, this is what I want to say, and it'll like make it pretty for you. And then it'll automatically post over to your Facebook too with that same information. So you don't have to recreate it for your Facebook post. They can tell who opens it. They can resend it if someone didn't open it. You can do survey and polls with it, and you can schedule it ahead of time. So the thing I like about this one, they do give governments a break on this, but so like we're looking at like, if we did, I was talking to them maybe like a 6-month, you know, you can opt out at any time really, and there's like a 30-day money back guarantee. There's no, you know, I like that you don't have to do it for a year, or you don't have to lock in for 3 years or whatever, but if you do 6 months, they'll give you 20% off. So we're looking at like $216 for 6 months. And then you add texting to that and you can get like 2,500 text messages for an
So it's
additional
not
25.
all, you can choose, it's a la carte. You can choose different things.
Like you're emailing and texting. That's it. But with that information, then they can, you know, you can link websites or you can link whatever. So I honestly, I'm trying to steer you towards this, but I guess I want to hear your feedback. I just like that. I think if we're going to jump into something different, this is like low stakes. It's not going to cost a lot of money. And I think it's a better way to like stuff coming to them instead of them having to go to our website. If you get an email or text that says, click here to get to the website, I think people will do that.
Who's gonna be managing, who do you see managing this?
And how often do we want to send stuff out,
Yeah.
right?
Who is that in the system right now?
Would
So-
it have to be staff with, or, you know,
just say, we're gonna do it just like what we're doing with the newsletter. So currently it's Brianna,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm saying Brianna would.
Replace one of her responsibilities with this, so she's not overwhelmed with giving another one.
Right, and I think that this could actually kind of like, I'm not sure we wanna continue exactly with the newsletter, how we're doing it. I'm getting feedback from people that like, I don't know, if they're really reading it. Right, and so Brianna's even saying like, I put it together, but I don't think anybody's really reading it.
Is this an app, just real quick, it's not an app,
No.
so it's something,
Yeah, do the next one too. I have it around. Okay, go again, sorry. Okay, here's a couple of my ideas. What are we doing that we wanna keep? What's already working? And then I have some ideas I wanna add to that. So what are we doing that's working? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I struggle with this one because I think communication is not really very high in this group. I think there's a lot of opportunity. Now, I can talk about it more too, but I don't think we're communicating well at all, really.
I don't wanna get rid of anything that we think is working, but I agree, Dave. I don't think what we're doing is working. So I'm ready for a full revamp, but I don't know I don't wanna throw something out if you guys are like, this is working. So,
But I think
I
that's,
think it
it's gonna
depends on
take, it's gonna
context,
take added resources to do it.
I can say it, in all the time I've been, I don't think I've ever gotten feedback. I don't think
No.
anybody's ever said, I saw this in the newsletter.
yeah,
But Facebook and texting.
I do get it, and again, it depends on who you ask and what age group and stuff, but because I'm active and whatever, and I can see the demographics and people who, it's not the only avenue, you don't wanna
Yeah.
get rid of it, but.
No, we
social
don't wanna
media
get rid of it.
posting, there's a lot of people who do that, but.
Yeah.
Like Mayor Call, his neighbors, but that's who the demographic you're talking about, say, but that's anecdotal evidence to say, oh, we're not looking at it, we only read your newsletter. And so I do think the newsletter, at least from the people I talk to, no offense to any message or anything that's in there, they don't read it.
I agree.
ever.
So the things that I would like to see happen, I think it's important we get our events out.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's important that we get a message out, whether it's a mayor message, but I kind of want to alter that a little bit if you're good with it. And just some did you knows, like, did you know the reason why we run our sprinklers in the day in the summer is because XYZ? Did you know that on 1000 West, we're doing this water project and it's gonna take this long?
Yeah,
Things like
updates of
that,
things
right?
that are happening in our community.
Okay,
We passed this ordinance that will affect you this way, if it's a big.
So there's two things here, though. There's those things that you just talked about. That's the important part. And then the second part is what you've just gone through this whole presentation, is how do we get that out to people to actually listen
see it, okay.
and see it? Because the demographic, again, I've had several people comment, yeah, I loved your message today, but that's 20 maybe. And so it is not, the newsletter is not being good. I'm surprised, I didn't know that we spent almost, $12,000 on sending. That's a waste. We
Yeah.
need to do away with that.
But the good thing is
Well,
now
$900
we
a
got a
month.
budget to work with.
$900 a month times 12 is,
Yeah.
is,
Not just mailing the newsletter, that's mailing the utility bills. right?
no.
That was just the
The
newsletter.
900 went to those people that didn't get the,
Oh, the other amount
The
was
other
the
amount.
utility bill. and
Right,
the news.
so if you go to that slide back there at the very beginning, it is,
so it's 900 was that.
right here, it's
11
1849 is for the utility bill with the newsletter.
Okay,
Okay, so almost 2,000 utility bill, but utility bill has to go.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
so the 909 per month, I think that is our budget to work with something else.
I think so.
Either one of those.
What, so just.
I'm sure like.
No,
Get on
cause you
this.
pay your utility bill online or
Something.
auto pay.
Yeah.
And then you get your newsletter via email through the express bill if you
I
have a
actually do
utility.
both because I want to be able to see what comes, but, so like, say if you have an older.
You're costing us more money.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But like you have people who live in the condos down the street from me who don't, and they're older. If they want a paper bill, what do you, I mean, you don't have to cater to the 50 people in the city that want a paper newsletter.
Yeah.
How do you educate them?
What are those
do you do?
people gaining from the newsletter?
Just,
Yeah.
it's
Nothing.
there.
Nothing.
It's
Nothing.
there. So I'm just curious,
Yeah.
how do we help them feel like they're connected? And it's
Same.
not so much informed, but.
Right. Well, do they have an email? Can we send them a constant contact? Can we send them an email? And then they connect to, okay, so here are my ideas. One, I think it'd be really fun, instead of doing like paper, to do like some, like I wanna call it like a mayor's minute, or like, I don't wanna call it mayor, I wanna do something else, like a city second, a city something, is my idea. So just snippets. So let's say after, I'm just throwing out ideas here, but like, we could come up with like something that's going on in the city,
Mhm.
and we could just do 1 minute video of just like, this is what's going on, let me tell you about it.
Sharon
da, da,
does
da.
that.
Sharon's done that in the past. After city council meeting, maybe we just go like, these were the top items, and I go with my phone and I say, Sean, tell me which ones we approved today, and you can say this is what we approved, or as we go down, I could get a couple of you, just a quick, and I'm talking 1 minute video,
Fantastic idea.
just quick. And then we can connect that, and you can actually hit that link, like from our website or from this constant contact with a link.
Well,
Share social media text.
Share on social media.
North Ogden's done, now they've started a What's Up Wednesday. So
Seems
every Wednesday they do a What's Up with, this is what we passed, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a short little post.
The only problem I see is, are you gonna be able, I mean, is that?
The video stuff I'm gonna have to do.
Cause that, we're gonna have to put it out there and hopefully it'll involve into somebody doing something, but it's putting that content out there
Mhm.
that is gonna be cause you can't just do it once and forget about it. It has
Right.
to be,
A weekly thing.
well, or whatever it is, it has to be constant, it has to
Right.
be informative. Cause I love the minute thing, just the little teeny things, but I get so many texts.
Right.
And and emails, I have 4 or 5 different email accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Right.
I just,
You don't want more.
I don't know, cause I don't look, I mean, I look at just for a second.
What's the content?
What's the content, and if, boom, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I fear that if I see Pleasant View City, zoop, delete.
And that's okay. If you don't wanna know, you
But
don't.
then nobody's
You
seeing it.
give the commissioner updates once a month. I subscribe to that and I do watch Sharon's little, it's.
Yeah, but Sarah, but you're
Okay.
you're the oddball out, but I just,
Well, hang on.
I
I'm
just-
plugged in.
no,
That's what we're saying, you are plugged in.
You are, yeah, there's no question there, but I want to
Know how
go,
you have a life, it's like.
Yeah.
Hard.
but, and, I mean, and
So,
you've
I
done
gotta
a great
finish up.
job. Finish.
So this isn't gonna come to a vote today here or anything, but I'm gonna go, if, with your head nod, I'm gonna kind of go down this constant contact rabbit hole and get us kind of set up to what we can really accomplish and how we want to accomplish it. So let's start there first, and then if we want to go into something different from these other ideas, we can.
I love it. I want to think outside of the box and just get some stuff, and we might have some trial and error, and it might
Yep,
be negative, but at least we're moving in a different direction, because I mean, I don't mind writing an article, but, and I look at, and Brandon's doing a great job.
totally.
Absolutely, this is nothing against her.
Right.
She's just putting it out there. But it's like the old print shop. Remember print shop we used to do? Making flyers for the Elders Quorum Party
Hey,
or something, and that's where we're stuck. But when we look at all these new things that are out there, and that's what I appreciate you looking at that.
hey,
'cause-
Mayor, real quick, I did notice, this goes along with M two, that, Mayor Godowski, Public Works, we're taking over the mayor's desk today. And, it's just kind of fun where you have department updates and stuff, so it's not always just the mayor, but the
Yeah.
mayor's message is important as well with that, or,
So I want to be careful that we don't inundate them with too many.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we can't, I'm thinking, honestly, like, I'm thinking twice a month is what I'm thinking.
And that's good. And it's just like I put on here, it's from other people. I mean, do they want to hear from the police department for?
Right,
But it's that minute. I love that minute thing. It's just a small little
it's quick.
something that gets their attention, that puts it out there. And I'm gonna give you 5 more
Okay.
minutes. Did you get some information on those signs?
So I just finally got the contact. I called North Salt like 5 times. I'm not even exaggerating. So at 5:15, I get a voice message from somebody that says, this is the gal you need to talk to. So I finally at least have someone who I can talk to.
Does everybody
with a
know what I'm
number.
talking about with this?
I just texted out.
Yeah, North Salt Lake has those information signs for the month.
Oh,
You see that?
but
And I sent it out on it.
Yes.
I took a picture. I've been gonna stop by. I drive past there and I was gonna come and stop in their office. But I think that is a visual that people can just see. We're doing food truck giddy up. We're doing
Yeah.
city council meeting.
and where would you put that?
We're gonna get 4 or 5 of them, put them, 600, 1,000.
So if that, would we still do like A-frame for things that we need to put
I don't
out?
know.
Those are just barcode scanned, right? They were just a.
No,
QR.
Does have a barcode at the top
You
to take you to the website for events.
you
So they change it out or?
yeah,
They do.
that's a month or
That's a couple months,
couple months.
July through September.
Still, the same day, they have put an A-frame just for another reminder, but.
We
I-
can have A-frames if we want to go back to the 50s, but
Just on the day.
but we have some of this stuff and that, because part of it is just having having them engaged. And that's what I tasked Ann with doing, is how do we get, as I went through for this mayor thing, as I talked to people had no clue what was going on in the city.
Yeah.
Zero. And they didn't want to know in some regards.
Right.
And the newsletter, I think it's,
What's
I think it's thrown away. I think it just gets chucked. And
on there's a mayor message, when our city council meetings are, and what's coming up for like our activity, whether it's the candy grab or whatever.
Recreation,
Yeah, I
or-
mean, we can get that out in a better way.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
I love it.
As a constant contact is something that our organization uses all the time, and I talked to Ann about this too. Another thing is that you can build credibility with constant contact. If you find some story that's related to your city, you can grab and it pulls it over like as if you were the one that kind of created that and puts the link to that story or that event. So there's also some real benefit. It's very simple to build credibility of that you're in the know in what you're doing. Because you can grab things real easy and pull them in and make it, it's just another quick blip on the constant contact flow. It can be really useful.
One last, one little thing, and I did, so I have several properties in Ogden that I get bills from. And that's the thing I gave to Ann, and I think I should save that little code to push into that GoGov or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it opened it up, and as somebody that really cares, I mean, I downloaded the Ogden app. And I can go do it, and it just is a quick, easy way of getting there. I'm not a searcher of, put in something, I don't like it, but I like it, I like the touch thing.
Mhm.
Just to be able to click on something, boom, boom, boom.
The go-go.
I've got it out in my car, I think it's, or do you still have it there, the little paper piece of
I
paper?
actually downloaded it.
But anyway, it is involved because it takes a lot of content to put in it. But anyway, all right. I love it, and thank you. That was perfect. Well done.
Thanks.
I love it, and I think everybody that nod, go forward with more information.
Okay.
That's gonna happen.
You guys talked about the sign. Do we ever, what are our defining borders that, again, back to the economic thing, that if I pull off the freeway and now I'm entering, it's like when you go onto the Disneyland sign, right?
Right.
Can we do that, or can we put a Pleasant View across 2700?
I was in Brigham last night, and I'm like, hey, we gotta put-
Welcome to Pleasant View.
You know, we got the Ogden sign.
Well, that's,
know.
side of the road is far west, they'll tell the railroad, it's the railroad.
Well, that's
tracks,
what,
it's-
with the Fleming piece down there, as part of their development agreement, I wanted to put a big welcome to Pleasant View sign right past the tracks. Didn't put it in there, but
You approved the
You can't.
development
Well, we
agreement.
can.
Can't add it now.
but I know we can't, but I would love to have a big welcome to Pleasant View on 2700.
Yeah.
Just right there across the tracks where that new subdivision is.
Like Marriott Sladeville kind of partnered with down on 400 North on like public-private.
Yeah.
Right there where I'm sure that Marriott Sladeville paid for the sign,
Yeah.
but it's right.
Like to do that,
We have
because there's-
signs pretty much everywhere. Falling down by.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's time for us to really get the big ones. That's one of my.
Yeah, and I
think we need to do that, and we ought to go big. I was
think so
thinking, I was thinking, more of what they did up in, Ogden Valley, I don't know if you've seen all the signs they've done, and I
All
don't
the
know.
wayfaring signs. Is that what you're talking about?
They're signs that just tell you where to go
Yeah.
up there in the valley, you get ski resorts and everything, but they're really well done. I don't know if Weaver County did them, I don't know if UDOT did them.
It was through a rep grant as well.
Okay, but something similar to that, but then I drove, like I say, driving through Brigham last night and the big old Brigham light, I'm like, we gotta do something different. We can go big on that, and I think it would really, really identify us.
and it
So-
would identify because
I don't think
when you're
it's
coming up
possible.
2700, you don't know when you're in Pleasant View.
No, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
And until you get to the ER, and you said, Pleasant View. Anyway, all right,
You're right.
Dave.
Okay, I'll just start, I mean, that's, the signs was one of my, on the very bottom, or city entrance and park signs, I think it's something we ought to do, I don't know how high a priority it is, but we all have great ideas on that, I think, and we should go there, but. For me, the top two are the ones that I really wanna focus on, there's Public Works West. We've been talking about this for quite a while, we got the cemetery there, everything came to light this week that, you know, we don't really have a development, or general plan in that area. And there really wasn't any need to go forward with a lot of that because Sister Casey who lived there, she's passed away and they all wanna do something different now. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but Pleasant View owns quite a bit of property that goes clear up to almost to Mount Orchard Drive. And we're not gonna use that property. I don't think we got plans for you to use it, but it ought to be involved in the general plan and a discussion.
The public works yard.
Yeah. I'm
Just
talking,
above it.
I'm
like
talking
behind.
goes north, and.
Yeah, we purchased that whole property all the way up to the.
You have plans for that?
Plans for that?
It's, more theoretical on that north side of 3,000, and then there's a little.
I'm talking about the arm itself up there, but there could be some really good development in there, but everybody's gonna do a little piece of their own there, and until we get something that, and I don't think we wanna have more than one more connection to 89. So the one that's planned there with Public Works West, we ought to incorporate everything into that. And now it's kind of, we got all this synergies happening. The cemetery's for sure gonna happen. Public Works West needs to happen. We haven't talked about, but we have the corridor along 89. Maybe that should be commercial and we should step away from that. As a city owning that property right up to Highway 89. You know, there's a lot of discussion we need to have there, but to me, that's a really big priority. And I don't know if we wanna address the whole general plan of the city, but for me, that area between 1000 West below Pleasant View, or below Mount Orchard Drive and Highway 89, we really need to address that soon and let these developers go forward with it, because they all wanna, Casey's wanna develop, Almner Holdings, which is Blake, I don't know what his name is, but he's ready to do it, and we denied him, but that's only because we don't have a plan, I think everybody's in agreement
Yes.
with that, so.
Now, just quick question, are we just is that just gonna be Public Works down there, or is that
Well,
gonna be?
that's another
city
question, I mean,
offices?
Tyson's been working that,
Yeah,
but
so-
we all need to have input to what's going there. What is our long-term goal of that whole Public Works West? The cemetery needs a place there too, but right now we're stacking, there's 5 or 6 piles of dirt down there that we may or not be needed, right? So,
Yes, so when we brought the site plan in before, so that your enterprise funds purchased it for long-term needs, so not all of them were identified because a lot of the discussions have been for services that we've never offered, and the reasoning is we've been crammed in around a park, so you can't do a lot of services in the area we were given, so some of that property, the idea was long-term services, and some of those services haven't been identified yet, so it was more about you don't have space to build into public works or services that the city provides.
The decaf facility is for sure something we need, but talked about the green waste
Yes.
side down there.
Okay,
You know, more housing for the trucks, you know, having
Storage.
and stuff down there.
okay, but overall, that's gonna be a Public Works mecca.
It is, but I agree that there are parts of it that may or may not be used, but I mean, we bought it for an expansion, so.
Yeah.
But that is,
guess my point is, and Tyson's probably thought through this pretty well, but do we really have a good vision of where we wanna go with that? We got an opportunity to do it. Let's figure out how to do it and do it well, so we're planning way into the future.
again,
Yeah, we could bring in the site plan again and talk about it more, but it just, the big key takeaway is the enterprise funds purchased it for enterprise reasons, so you can't just necessarily turn around and give it to a park, cause it's the city property,
Okay.
because the enterprise funds are independent.
I think
so it
that'd be a
has
good
to
thing for you, especially for John
Sure.
and Sean, bring that back in, So we could, I know that we've seen kind of the overall look at what you want there, so.
So if you wanted to switch the regional pond, and so the idea is even like regional capacities and where that pond is was identified for the crossing that's available there in the low spot for your 1,000 West upsize, and so there's sort of long range capital, so it's projects, so it's not necessarily, you know, you're gonna see huge movement tomorrow because you're waiting for millions of dollars to update a pond.
Yeah,
So most
I
of
don't,
that's identified.
I don't think that
already.
it's, I mean, we're not opening it up to commercial, I think, I mean, it is for what Tyson's talking about, but I think it'd be good to have that brought back, to have us remember what that kind of looked like, and
Sure.
kind of, I think that'd be a great thing to bring back, so
Well,
put that on your list.
If there's what we can if we can utilize within the enterprise funds with the areas that you're not using to enhance that besides what its main purpose is for.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
some idea like getting more into that, like if you wanted to sell it off and return the funding to the enterprise because they don't have an identified use there, that would be an option. I think getting into that realm, I don't know how much of that space you would want to do that with, because you're sort of dealing with unknown services to provide, because yeah, they're not making more land and it's just gonna get more expensive, so that is very long-term, long-range
And
thinking.
it could just sit there. I guess my point, the whole thing is, we need to have some vision to it, and we need a committee to work on it. And in addition to the general plan, Public Works West needs to really be defined what we want long-term there.
Well, and I think the public, to your point though, there's a huge housing component that's not part of what we don't want. I think, are you kind of putting that,
Well, I think,
the Public Works West, that area, right?
I think it has to be, all of it together. You gotta focus on Public Works West. What do we need there that the city needs as resources? What does the cemetery need to go along with that? The cemetery could be a separate part of that, but then the rest of it is general plan and development. And then one more piece of that is the city owns property we're not gonna use. How do we allow that to be either in the development or trade for what we want? There's just a lot of
Yeah,
opportunity there
absolutely. No, that's
that
good.
needs vision. And I think that's pretty high priority to me. I think it's something those developers wanna go forward. The cemetery is gonna go forward. Public Works West, we don't have to do anything today, but at least I have a plan, so.
And shortly, the decant would start, because that funding has to be spent, so we're almost to the end of the structural design of the decant, so you should start seeing most of the 3,000 down to the south property, adjacent to Pepsi. You'll see that sort of shaped out for the decant, and then the big structure, if approved, it's the federal funding should be built or spent by the end of the 2026.
Oh, really? So we have to do the decant by the end of
Or you gotta
2026?
get back your
Yeah.
600,000.
It's way more urgent than I thought.
Pocket change.
Anyway, so those two together, are pretty high priority. City staff and, or website and city communication, we've already kind of gone through that pretty well, but the only point I want to make on the website and, well, got a couple of things, but website is there, it's very functional. We're paying for the software, and it's there ready to go. The problem is we have no one to do it, and it's gonna take three or 4 hours a week
Yeah.
for somebody to keep it updated and keep it going, and it's probably I think ought to be our first communication.
Everything
method.
should direct to the website.
Everything should start there first, and then if we wanna go out, the videos I think are great, any other communication.
Should always post a link to the
Yeah.
website.
Okay, so that's the website, it's there, we already paid for it, it's very functional. It's just no one's doing it, no one has responsibility to do that in a city, I don't think it.
Right now, who is it Brianna that, or Heather?
Each department has access to update their.
But who is I mean, there has, somebody that is the overseer of it, is that Heather?
Heather has been that by default, I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
think it's
that's.
Heather by
supposed to
Every
be.
department is in there.
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah, but-
one person.
That's what I wanna sit and show you, like you said on the website, and I'd like to show you, but
Yeah.
there isn't any really good valid information that's outdated in there.
not updated. And whose responsibility is that? I don't know that it can fit on our staff right now. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about, it probably is really overwhelming to the staff. I don't wanna, they're all feeling overwhelmed by this meeting in general, right? There's a lot to do. We gotta add people, we gotta do it smart in systems like Sean's talking about. We've gotta do that, but we need help there, but I think somebody needs to be dedicated to that. So another part of my communication part here is, he goes along with what Ann was talking about, but I've talked to you about having daily meetings. I've talked to these guys about it a little bit before as well, but just maybe an example of what happened with we sat down with Republic. We had this meeting and it was Andrea, me and you, and we talked to Republic and Tyson was in there as well. And then we went out there and then after that, you know, we said, hey, well, those garbage cans need to be set up exactly, standing up every time. And did the council know about that? What happened out of that meeting? No, the council had no idea.
This is the first time.
Stetson didn't have an idea, but he's driving around, his people are driving around all day long and they could see what's happening out there, right? I think we need to run a lot more as a business and we need to communicate a lot better internally. And some of that's a management type of thing, but I have a vision of this and see it work a lot, but of that a 15-minute meeting every day between department heads and discussing just follow-up. Did things get completed? What needs to be communicated between police and public works and court? What needs to be communicated to city council? And it's just a quick
Huddle.
It's a quick huddle. It's a standing meeting, whether it's in person or whether it's on I don't know if we have Teams or whatever we use in here, a video conferencing type thing. But it's gotta be quick and it's a follow-up because we're not really following up to the things that we've already committed to. You know, what's happened? We made all these decisions in a council meeting or in planning commission, but what's the follow-up to that and who's completing it and getting the things accomplished? I think it's back to what we talked about with the railroad. We all thought the railroad was nearly done, right? And there's no follow-up to that and a communication to that. And it's not just the big things, that these are little things. And I think these two especially can work a lot closer together with that type of communication. Maybe it's happening. I don't really know. But you guys know, does Public Works know what the police issues are, or is police helping you with issues, you know?
Yeah, it's not a set schedule, but it's pretty regular communication between both. It's not maybe an assigned meeting, but like the vandalism when that was happening, you know, there was obviously your communication goes up from both sides working through that, the code enforcement element, Sarah and so many of our items going back to then really, if you get to a certain point of our noticing, I believe it does, you know, doesn't fall off because there are so many other roles, like nobody's a set manager, you're also the one that's doing the website, the work,
Right.
the planning, budgeting, you know, I think that's maybe what's missing in that equation, but.
Yeah, so it takes time, but it's getting all that communication, you know, even how do we know we need to update the website today, right? What communication needs to go on the website today because we got something happening in the city? We don't have stuff happening, probably as frequent as most cities do and things, but to me, that's the level of communication and teamwork that I would like to see in the city. It's an efficiency thing. And
Who do you see driving that? That, and I don't know if daily reports at this point, but just to say a
Maybe not.
weekly report, who is gonna be driving that, do you think?
Well, Stetson already has turnover meetings between his shifts and everything right now. They're communicating. And he needs to take that information and disseminate it to whether it's council or whether it's city administration. He's already doing that. Tyson's meeting with people, he meets with them frequent throughout the day. What are the big issues that are happening?
So
What can you
where
help
does,
with?
where does all that information go? Is that go to,
These three, and there may be additional people, but
is
yeah.
that somebody that could be like the coordinator for the website? Would that person be the one that would set up a team meeting, or, because we have to have somebody or some, I mean, yes, we're having all these parts and pieces come in, city council, boom, mayor's boom, public works, boom. Gee, there has to be somebody, so I'm thinking that we would have somebody that would be that, the hub of all the spokes. I mean, you'd have to have something to, cause you can't just be throwing it into a big pile on the table. Somebody has to take that
No.
information and get it out. Whether, we just all log on to a meeting,
no, what I envision is.
like a Teams meeting, or
Andrea's called the meeting. She has standardized things that she reviews every day. They report on it. They report it. They have their stuff that they report. Tyson has his stuff to report. If we're pulling in a website person, they would be there and then, okay, we need.
I
we need
just-
it
I
in,
just-
and this
I-
Goes on the website.
I-
This was gets communicated on.
it has to be done, but just like this meeting starts at 8, now we're at 10:30. I see that lasting all day. The information is definitely there. I can't
Well,
see
right
how
now-
to make it work really well here in the city.
Communication's the biggest struggle, and it's, the funny thing is, you think a smaller city, the communication would be easy. But it's harder because
is
so
not.
many of us wear so many different hats. So what I notice a lot of times is, I go to a meeting, something that could probably apply to Tyson or Andrea, and I go to the meeting. And as soon as I leave, I throw on another hat and go to something
Yeah,
else.
and it gets
And I
forgotten.
forget that, like, this.
There's so many
Be like
things
that
that
for
are
Tyson, because I went something just.
But this is a reminder and it's a focus, a standardized focus, and it's quick. We get in and out. Cause right now, I personally don't believe there's very much communication going on. It's-
No.
You're going into meetings throughout the day and it's the different hats. That's the problem. And we need to get more people. He has to have the full
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
That can't continue to happen. And we need another person. So anyway.
Oh, see, now you just overwhelmed me.
Sorry,
Yes.
I told you, I was gonna put, these guys are gonna feel the stress of it, and we all feel that, it's
Yeah.
part of that, but, okay. I think that's everything. Oh, All Sports Park, I'm really excited, that finish thing we're talking about, right?
Yeah, get it finished.
Those are the things we gotta finish, we gotta nail down. Water storage tank, I do think we may not need to do anything today, but we ought to have a target and a goal of when we're gonna accomplish that.
I think that's being worked on. We're gonna have to have a bond at some point to finish it. That's the sneaky thing.
Right, but if we don't have a plan and say, hey,
Yeah,
do we need
I
that?
think that's- I
When do we
think-
need it? Do
I
we
think
need it?
that is in the plan, and proper acquisition rights of way. Those are
done,
those
or
are
we're-
going through. So I don't, let's not talk about that right now, because that
Okay.
is in the plan.
Right.
Sarah,
Okay, most of everything that I wanted to talk about, you guys have already pretty much addressed. There's only just a little couple things, wait, don't you love how cohesive everybody is and it kind of
We're all on the
speaks with
same
each
page.
other? No, I just think that's great. I think that's great. So we met about route branding. I do think that we need to be more strategic about that earlier in the year. And Anne brought this up with previous mayor last year or this year. It would be nice if we have money, which we don't, but just a little bit to have a placeholder to be able to provide some of the matching funds for the major grants and the larger grants, just so that we don't have to go out and beg all the time for matching funds. And so even if we started it, I don't even throw out a number, something like 10,000, something like that yearly, so that that's good money. We can do great things. And this all plays into what everybody wants to do. And so, yeah, anyway, would like to see a placeholder in the budget every year to match those routes.
when does the Easy Grant stuff due?
March 20th, but we met, so we
Yeah.
have a great idea. So, do you want to hear about that now real quick?
Yeah. Go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's just
do-
three.
Do what you wanna do, but
Okay, there's three. So one is gonna be dedicated to the 175, so we were thinking banners and coins.
Okay.
To pay for those. The second one, Bryce and Big Mike had an idea to do, and they already had talked about this in RC Park. And they wanted to put it in, where did they wanna put it in?
Pleasant View.
Pleasant
Pleasant View
City
Park.
For what's
Yeah.
the thing?
It's an RC park, and so they have some ideas and they want to, so one is gonna be for that. Now, we also, because we have these amazing pickleball courts, and we want to be able to use them, we have to have a few accessories, like practice boards and pickleball paddle holders, and so that's gonna be the third one. So Ann and I met with Bryce and, Big Mike and Cindy, and that's what we talked about there.
Good.
So, but I think it would be important for us to have a placeholder for grant funding.
And the easy grants don't need a match, right?
No, they do
So
not.
just the majors.
Remote control park. So it's almost like picture, you know, dirt and hills and all those things like you would do with a dirt bike or whatever else. And they have some ideas with it and, have found
If
some.
the cats are gonna go dig in there.
They're gonna have fencing.
Just for clarification, is that what you, staff would be writing those, submitting?
Bryson, Big Mike, want to make it stab at it, so they're gonna write their own grants, and we can, you know, we're gonna meet back this week and follow up on some of the people that we're reaching out. Okay, community events, we already kind of talked about this, Cindy and I, scaled back the food trucks, we only do them August and September, and then, and the 2 in August and the 2 in September, but I have talked to the business owners down at, you know, next to the Rush and all of those places, they would love for us to come down there once or twice a summer. They're okay with the food trucks because it doesn't really dig into that, but we need to bring the community there. And so if we did like what Ogden City does, where you have a night stroll or an art stroll, or you have a band down there, and all the restaurants and the businesses buy into a ticket that you can purchase, you know, or even you just patron those businesses to help bring awareness to them and also patron them. And it actually feeds into economic development because we would post, advertise, I shared, I know Facebook's its own little animal, but I'm a member of Far West and Ogden City and Ogden Valley and Plain City and all of those, and we share all of our event information in those community pages as well. So we want to bring people here. So that's something that Cindy and I would love to do, and we talked to Public Works a little bit about that, even bringing our stage down there, put it in the parking lot, you know, occasionally to do that for a community event down to help those businesses. So, other than that, we've talked about general plan update. I personally think that a comprehensive update is needed because we haven't had one, but we could start small if you want to, but then you still have to cover all the areas of what we want to do. And you have to identify those areas for the LSFR and for any sort of, you know, multifamily housing or whatever else and master plan communities. And so that really needs to be done before there are developers who want to do the hillside. And if we don't have the master plan community ordinances in place, then we won't have a master plan community. So that's really big in my book, taking care of our staff, making sure that they have the support and the tools that they need with the things that Sean mentioned and everybody's mentioned, but also doing those comprehensive updates, because that will also let us know where we have those deficiencies and where we need the employees and where we need that support. So there you go. Less than 5 minutes.
No, I mean, you have
Ta-da.
whatever time you want. So, and I'm sure some time over to Tyson if you have some things here in just a second, Tyson. I want you to be thinking what Tyson, well, think about Tyson, whatever he wants to say, but I want you to think about the top 5 or 6, 7 things we want to have takeaways from this meeting. And move forward, because we could talk about it, but just as Dave talked about, if we don't communicate, don't get things done, this is just a waste of the meeting.
Sure.
So, I mean, I've got a couple of things already written down. Everybody has given really good content. Thank you, everybody. I think this was important, and I think we need to do it more often than not, more often than once a year. So I'd like to kind of set up a follow-up meeting where we can report on some of our things. And this will be, maybe we can work through it and talk about in our comments from our city council meeting, from, you know, things that we're doing from planning and economic and all these different things. It'll give us a reason really to talk in our comment period for the city council. That, we agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just, yeah, just, and have things on there that we can see some progress. It just drives me nuts that there's nothing. We talk about it and then nothing happens. Tyson, welcome back.
Yeah, no,
You were
thank you.
missed.
Yeah, it was a nice learning weekend or week, so
Where was it?
hopefully I
St.
passed my test and, yeah,
Where
we'll
was
see in
it?
a month or so, St. George.
George. St. George. Sure you did, you got a nice tan from.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
It is almost.
From the Sunbrook Room Ballroom A.
I apologize, I didn't talk to you, so I didn't put anything on the agenda for. so
No.
What would you like to talk?
No, I think a lot of the overall items, I think everybody covered a lot of what we've all talked about, and it's nice to hear some of the staffing element expressed as a known. I'm a big believer in, you know, foundational. I love everything. I want pathways, I want events, outreach. I just worry that, you know, getting into those again without fixing the foundation and the process from my side, our department side, keeping up with the changes with the state are definitely the biggest struggles. So to me, I think our biggest place is obviously retention and retention elements and policies. I think we've done a lot of it. And keep moving forward on that and make it a part of that planning process. Compliance with state and federal regulations and our own city processes. I think we touched on that a lot. I look forward to, we've done it. I think I've restarted with varying administration, some of the same policies repeatedly, and then you kind of start over. I believe in the outreach with what we're trying to accomplish here with what we have. You know, putting stuff like that out to groups that's what they do. Get the bulk in, your department heads, your administration, review it, kind of put the city touch to it and get some of them moving, because I don't believe we're keeping up with how fast they're changing the rules across all departments. Processes again for us, new people, we're trying to build a better group and meet what our responsibilities are. I think I have a great group, but you know, formalizing some of that and making it the norm for everybody, and taking that time to develop that. And then funding's gonna be a big one. I think we got a lot of hard, big decisions coming and getting into, your tough fees, your sewer, stormwater, trying to get the resources to do all these amazing things, and your compliance requirements that aren't always as exciting to talk about. So I think most of the projects, the planning is in your budgets, those years, those timelines. We try to project off of them. There's a ton of moving parts, you know, where you put all those and meet your requirements for what people can and can't see, and makes it difficult to do that just openly all the time. But most of your capital projects are moving along. We still have quite a few out on the table that you're trying to work through, wrap up.
Yeah, I promised one of my first meetings with Tyson, just don't add anything on my plate yet. Let's get some of these things done, and I honor that. I mean, we're not gonna try to stack on. We want to finish some things and get your help and take stuff off your plate. I love what Sean said. If we could take some of those review things off and just make that life easier, so you have more time, because time is that. But we don't want to overwhelm you.
Yeah, you almost have pushing 10 million in grant money that we're managing.
So-
Several different projects and right of ways, and how much is involved in the behind the scenes with all of that money. It's not just free money. There's hours and hours of
Yeah.
work that come with all of those grants and those different funding sources.
So I value everybody in this room, you know, Stetson, Tyson, you guys are doing a great job. We don't want to overwhelm to where we lose you or something. We know that this body wants to work with instead of against. So I appreciate that. And I'm gonna give maybe a couple more minutes. We'll be out here by 11. For sure. Andrea, what else?
That was 12.
No. It's well, one to be 10. but we're gonna be out of here by 11.
It's been communicated, it was 8 to 12.
Oh, well, we're not gonna go 12. We're gonna go 11. That's it. Andrea.
I don't really have a lot to add to what has already been brought up today. I did want to mention that, I applied for a grant for a general plan update.
Oh.
And while we were not prioritized, for funding on that, Tim Watkins from Wasatch Front Regional Council reached out to me and is offering, I guess, in-kind type of help. He's been through several different cities and counties, through his career and has helped, shape and draft their plans. And so he is more than willing to help us on the technical aspect of it rather than the financial side of it. Cause he, you know, they tried to help as many people as they can financially, but they have limited funds for that, for those grants. So he wants to step in and help on a technical level. And then the only other thing that I would bring up is, our CERT/emergency management, it needs to be addressed as well. It kind of got thrown on Cindy. I'm not sure when or how, but it just really needs to be more designated and defined as to who's responsible for those roles. And we need to update our emergency operations plan, get some people attending the things that are required if we ever were needing assistance from FEMA. So
She's been attending those meetings and she and I talked, and she expressed some of the same things.
Cindy's been to some and I've been to some, and that's why I bring it up. You know, we've met about it. She's done some research on some EOPs but she's just unclear.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those. I mean, we've had several meetings on that, and I've got several lists of major things. That's a major thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And so from anything else, Laurie, do you have anything to put forth? So now it's time, I want to put forth another list.
Do we have a whiteboard or?
Moving forward.
like that?
No, we're just gonna
There is one.
we're just gonna go, and I think, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of, I think staffing is a priority among everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to identify Tyson, and I want to identify the planner, website, communication, and that, maybe that's two people. I don't know what it is, but I want to put a priority on staffing. And identify, and again, that's gonna, budget's coming up here. And I think we need to budget for additional staff. Is everybody agreed on that?
Yes.
Yes.
As and I'm not gonna say top one or two, but that's kind of top five thing
Yes.
is staffing, and it's not, I don't want to have just an assistant planner. Cause I don't think that justifies it, but how do you put those two hats in?
Like, no?
Well, yes, I don't know, but I don't know, and that's why I want your staff in there, or the staff, to be able to see what they need, and I'm really looking forward to them identifying that, because we know that we need to get somebody to help with the planning, we need someone to help identify with the website and this communication component. I think those, would you agree, those are the two
Yes.
biggest needs, and then there'll be a few other things that fall off from the staff. And is that fair to say that?
Can we define it a little bit more? I feel like it needs to be a full head at least.
Okay, yeah,
And for this,
yeah.
this office
Mhm.
to do what we just talked
Yeah.
about. But then I think, Tyson, we've got to get those two people hired.
Yeah, well, Tyson's on that.
So
He's gotta
possibly
have it.
wages and funding.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, but, so Tyson is, and I don't want to speak for you, but he's trying to train those people, and he's switching up some of those, duties of what those two full-time people are. And I'm leaving that with Tyson. I'm not gonna, I trust him in his department, so he's switching it, and we won't go into that, but he is working on that as we speak.
So
So-
what help he needs, we gotta give him help. He
Yeah.
needs it. And to me, that was like.
Taking some of these plan stuff, taking some of these things off of his plate
and-
will help him identify and work to that. So I'm on that with Tyson. Know that's being done, okay?
So we wanna put like target dates on this kind of
Not,
stuff?
not at this point,
So
no.
staffing.
I-
number one,
I do, I mean,
I-
if it's number one and we're dying.
Well,
let's-
well, this,
by-
the,
by
the,
May
the,
1st or
the
something.
staff, some of that will be budget.
So
And
is
I,
that July then,
and I
right?
would say that would be a July number unless we can find some money to bring it in before that.
I think-
Because well, and I would love to have it too, but we've identified the need, we're gonna have to go out and look and see, put some, responsibilities and duties to that. And so I would say within a couple months, we'll have that identified.
Okay, I'm writing down July.
I
but-
just wrote it down in my notes. I've been taking
But
notes.
money is, we have to find money
Right.
for a person or two people.
Yes.
And there might be, because we haven't had staff in Public Works, and we might be able to shuffle that for now.
Yeah, right now, I mean, he's had a whole year of.
Yeah,
let
so
people-
there might be, and I haven't looked at it, but there might be something that we can do it right away. But we have to identify that head, which I'm waiting for the ladies to come together to show me what that is. That Heather said, give me a month, and we're about there now. Been gone, so.
Yeah, and I think part of that was looking into some software solutions
Yeah.
too, to try and,
So-
figure out what the needs were.
Yes.
So, yes, I agree, we don't just wanna have something arbitrarily out there,
Right.
but it's gonna take a little bit of work, so. I'm gonna say, I wanna have the staff in by July. But I don't think, we have several other things that are gonna have to come from you guys on what that actually looks like the website. Who's gonna manage that? This communication component that you talked about, there has to be somebody that works that way. The planning, Sean's gonna have to help identify that to where that looks like, to allow Tammy to do something. So, but that's the number, I don't know if for one, but that's a very important thing. Okay, what's the second? Absolutely.
Comes to that planner, especially because I made this mistake on the police department. I think you gotta remember to approach that. Find a person for the job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially in a small city. What we tend to do in the past is we find several jobs per person.
Yeah.
And then we hire someone, and we're still understaffed, they're still behind, we're still not.
And I agree with that, and that's why we have to identify what,
I think Sean identified some good place,
Yeah.
a job that
Somebody
a person
who
needs to do.
is
Yes.
qualified for
Always
that
when you
job.
find a person for that job.
Yes, I agree.
but we have, and yes, you need to have identified the position, which is what we need to do. But that person, I don't know if we just have, and if we had two or three people, yeah, we'll have an assistant planner, we'll have a communications person. And if that's how we wanna do it, if that's how you wanna do it,
Well, I
Then
like
we
the
do it.
idea of working with staff,
Yeah.
identify those things. in the
So, anyway, so that's, throw out a couple other, everybody, Johnny, what's your,
Okay.
just give me one, your top priority thing.
Well, so I was given the assignment to go out, look at the,
Out of the
So-
things that we've talked about today.
Give us a top three. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Top three.
okay. Out of everything, not just what I touched.
Yeah,
Yeah, go, thank you.
okay, and,
My top three, staff add, software upgrade, like we were talking about, general plan, and I think I have a fourth, communication, but that's just me, so.
okay, Dave,
Mine was the staffing was by far the highest.
okay,
And then second was the Public Works West Cemetery and General Plan for that area, so.
yeah,
That's my second. Third, I put garbage and recycling on there, but I think we can get that pretty fast.
Yeah,
Just get that.
perfect, good,
And yeah, that's it for three.
perfect, Sarah,
Staffing needs, making sure that we're adequate in those departments, excuse me. Working with it, updating our general plan with our ordinances with, that's kind of a longer process, but updating
Yeah.
that. And also, this kind of works together with the economic development and ramp and can we put that with economic development? I think so.
That's fine.
Yeah, ramp and that we need a placeholder. We need to use those funds that we can get.
Okay. Perfect. John,
Staffing / software.
Yeah.
And then ordinances, general plan, and garbage.
okay, Johnny,
Okay, so I'd also, all the above plus talking about the economic impact from our zones, the different zones that we have and how that'll impact. And then in a way, also a demographic type study of, I don't know if we've done this, but if we looked at who lives here and what do they do? Where do they go? How do they live?
Check the leakage study again to see if that's part of it.
So I'm gonna task you with that economic portion that you do. That's something you're gonna do. That's not something we can do as a group. Okay, I'm gonna task that for you. Staff and software, I'm gonna put that all together. Cause that will, if we can get some software, I'm gonna put you on that and Andrea.
Yeah.
Okay, to get that identified. I'm going to work on staff needs with the staff in here. We can talk with other people. We'll do that, but can you do that?
Yeah.
Garbage, I think that's something that's in the process. Tyson, you're going to make sure that hopefully is done by the 10th to present that to us with some options. We can make a choice for that. Is that fair to do? General plan, I'm gonna take that out of this short-term mix because that is a long-term thing. It's not gonna be in the next 2 or 3 months. But Andrea's working on that and I appreciate that you're,
I can't be before then.
Well,
we
maybe more steps, maybe.
in order to do a general plan update, it's a big deal. You got, it's not just something you can do over the weekend. You gotta get committees and you've gotta get, different things that involve the general plan up, and we can do portions of it.
We just identify what those steps are, and then we could conquer it smaller.
Can we
Like,
do that?
I didn't even know any of
I
those.
mean, it's it'd be $50,000. How much is it?
I put in a grant for 200,000.
Okay, 200, it's a big deal.
Well, can she identify the steps that leading, just.
Well, I mean,
This is
it's,
what we need to do next for our general plan.
I mean, that
Or-
would take another half hour.
Or do we back off and say which
Today.
pocket,
Not
like, we gotta
today.
deal with some pockets pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yes.
So the, those areas that we talked about, that's why I said I'd like to do piece or part to begin with.
Okay.
Because we have several areas that we don't know. This, small housing component. Planned community component. Those are small components that we can tackle. Now, because I think most of our general plan is good. It needs to be changed. When did we do it last time? 2017?
That was the comprehensive.
And we did an overall thing. I mean, you have to have committees, and it's people, the private sector comes in and has committees on all these different aspects. There's, I don't know, half a dozen, I don't know how many different committees do you have? There's,
Well,
I guess you can make as much as, or more.
The Positive City really likes committees.
Well, but that's what we did before, and we had input and all these different things on what should be done, what we want done, and then it comes down to just plugging it all together. I think most of it's done, and I don't think we need to do the whole thing, honestly.
I do
But-
agree with the overlay though, that the planned community and.
So there are, like these smaller lots, we don't have a real direction on smaller lots. I agree 100% with that. And we don't know, some of these areas are undefined. The hillside's undefined. The hillside's 5-acre lots. We've kind of changed that a little bit, but we do need update on the general plan. So that, I'm gonna push that out, Dave, sorry. That's not something we can do right today. That's gonna be ongoing, and I think Andrea is tackling that.
As long as we work on this.
Yeah, this is something I want to have some things that we can just work on in the next 6 months
Well,
and have some.
that's my point on the urgency of it.
Okay.
Well, maybe not a full, I don't think the full thing is necessary, but
Okay.
I'm thinking that area down there, we are.
And that we can definitely look at that as that component of it, because we do need that, that zoning, that area that we think it'll fit, and that could be a aspect of it.
What are the steps of that though? I mean, do we just put it on the agenda and we're saying we're gonna do a general plan
No.
discussion?
Sure, yes.
Go ahead.
It's the same process, it's a miniature version of it. I mean, you're still, it's not just Tammy and Andrea saying, we think this is a good idea. It's got to be more in depth than that. We've got to look at all of the infrastructure. Got to look at what our water capacity, our sewer capacity are, we've got to look at what the density will do in that area with access on eight, right? There's so much that we have to look at, that it's even just tackling that one section. And is that the only section that we want to tackle? Is that the only place that LSFR makes sense? Or where is it throughout the city? I mean, my fear is we're gonna get into that and it's going to spawn a bigger project.
It will change our capital facilities plan, change our services needs.
Yeah,
it'll
it-
change all of it.
It's just, and we've been piecemealing it for a long time, for sure. And that's why I appreciate what you said in the council meeting, because it really does need to have a broader overlook of what that changes. I mean, I would love to just say, nope, we're done. But we're to a point where I think the knuckleheads down at the state are pushing
Yeah.
this anyway, I don't want to get into that. So yes, the general plan and those types of things are on. We can put that on the list as a thing.
Yeah, because
But-
if we don't, we're gonna put off developers, or we're gonna put
Okay.
landowners that want stuff.
And that's fine. So-
Our own current
So
plans.
we'll put it on, and it needs to be there. I'm gonna kind of put it down just a little bit lower. Garbage, I think needs to be there. Cemetery, I think we need to go forward and make sure that that's kind of in place to move forward. The communication side, I want to put that maybe at a number 2 on my list. And that goes with yours too. That aspect of communication as a whole could be just as big as the general plan. I just,
Okay, you got your five.
I don't know how we're gonna fix that. We gotta fix it. I don't have the answer. Ann has brought a bunch of stuff, but almost more questions. And then Dave throws his stuff in there and it just now frustrates me and I wanna go home and say, the hell was that all? I don't. So.
This is how you eat the elephant, one bite at a time. That's right.
Anyway, now we're past 11. Do you feel like this is,
When are we gonna meet? To follow up, that's the next step.
I was just laughing because it's 11:03.
Yeah, but we need to decide when we're gonna meet again and follow.
what do you wanna do? Every quarter? Have a meeting?
I would suggest like doing a short work session prior to a council meeting,
I like that idea.
rather than, committing 4 hours every
Yeah.
quarter on
Yeah.
it.
Ogden City does that.
I mean,
once a
just-
month, actually.
Now,
Keep it.
and some people have done that, where they've had other business before the meeting. And so we could talk a little, and I don't say freely, this is open public, people can be here. But, do we have 15, 20 minutes? But by the time everybody says something, it's an hour.
Right.
But everybody wants to talk, it's not just the Steve Gibson show.
But I mean, if you have a direction
Yes.
and you're just updating on your progress.
Okay.
it
We can
wouldn't
work
be
from
as
our
much
list.
as- Right.
Yeah.
Would you wanna do that top 5 list and have a work session before each council meeting then?
I think somebody
Yes.
needs to, I think everybody's taking their notes. I think one person, whether it's you, Mayor, or somebody needs to write, like email everybody the top 5 list.
Summarize.
Who's
Yeah.
doing what on that 5 list, so that when we get here Monday, I kind of, cause I've got my notes, but I'm sure that's all.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, that's fine.
Maybe the
Well,
question-
I've been taking up same
Good.
thing, though, the top 5, but also provide like 15, 20 minutes that's timed by the end.
Well, This,
Yeah.
this paperwork is not being thrown away.
Right.
There's a ton of information in here that are for the next section, the next thing.
So I think we make a comprehensive list of what's been
Yeah.
discussed today,
Yeah,
Yes.
and then we've got our top.
well, this list is gonna go into a binder and we're going to work off of this and go forward, because all these things are important.
Right.
But I just want to have 5 things that we can show something, progress on, because I don't want to have 27 things that nothing happens.
Well, that's my whole point about the date too, right? So what's our follow-up to, cause if we have priorities, what's our follow-up to
All
that?
right, what do you want to put there?
Oh, so I'm saying,
You tell me, what do you think, what do you think's the
I
follow-up
think it's
date?
great what you're talking about. What I'm saying is, hey, let's have an agenda item as what's our staff thing, and we put that on the next council
Perfect,
meeting, and
perfect.
maybe it's before we have a cadence of follow-up to that.
So if you have a top 5 list, well, a quarter's what, 12 weeks? Even if you just hit on one topic at each council meeting and just follow up on where are we at on this,
Do
in the
you
next
want to put
council
that in
meeting.
the other items at the end of the meeting then?
I would rather have it at the end of the meeting than come in at 5:30.
Okay, me
But
too.
I think what we should do, if we're gonna have a work session like she suggested
Okay.
before a council.
We are not going to schedule another 4-hour marathon, okay? We're going to schedule, and I will put that on the agenda with Laurie, we'll put these top 5 things, and we'll talk about that in the other
Business.
business.
One at a time.
One other business, we can talk about that, everybody can report on something, if there is something that comes up, because this will be this will flow
It's fluid.
and fluid, and we'll be able to do it.
Well, and I think it's better to look at it twice a month versus, you know, you put it off and then 2 weeks before your next work session, it's scramble to do
Yeah.
something.
And I like the ability to have our, chat, here we have on here, everybody on the text.
Your illegal chat.
We have
My illegal,
Legal.
It is actually.
Our group chat.
Yes.
If we're not accomplishing things,
we're not making a
discussing-
decision,
You guys don't ever talk about city business in
Never.
there? That's all you talk about.
yeah, we don't make any decisions, I think,
Correct.
no decisions are made on that.
I'll let you guys consult our
But-
attorneys on that.
But I think just getting some information out there, it's just fine. No decisions are made on that. But I think some information getting out there is a good thing. So, anyway,
It's a.
So
we
is our, is
we
our,
never did open this meeting officially, so do we need to close it officially?
Sure.
Is this adjourned?
Say, Mayor, can I give a final statistic?
Oh, my gosh.
Listen to this. All right, okay, our current population is?
Almost 12,000.
12,000.
What is our max population based on our boundaries? What do you think?
Ooh, I 35.
I was gonna say 25,000 probably.
25,000.
Yeah.
So just projected, if you were to go out, 25,000 is our max capacity.
So that should give us some indication as far as density.
What cities in Utah are in the same situation that we are?
the ones we identified, right?
No.
As far as
Oh.
size,
None of them,
Really?
except for Farmington, but Farmington is not 11,000. They're at 25,000 right now, and they can max out at about 30,000.
Can I give you another little thing to suck on? I talked to, I'm good friends with the county commissioner up in Brigham City,
Who?
or in Dave Box Elder County.
Who?
And they're considering a road up through the, elk herd
Nice.
oh, Marriott's property.
to connect up over the hill
Wow.
at some point. That's on their master plan, which will completely change.
Yeah, that was on the master plan off there.
But, so that'll be an out. They're doing it.
Water,
They're-
nothing.
So I'll give you 3 of the cities that are in our situation.
Okay,
Heber City. Heber. Morgan. Hurricane. I keep going. Grantsville, Santaquin, Ephraim, Brigham City, and Woods Cross.
that they're gonna max out.
They max out at about 25,000.
Mm,
And they're currently, so Brigham City is right now about 19,000. So,
Wow.
but if you were to go back to the city that we mentioned, do you wanna know? Can I keep talking?
Garbage?
We have no way to annex anybody in. legally, so-
Clinton is at 25,000, they max out at 30,000. St. George, 110, they max out at 300,000.
Gosh.
Lehigh's 100,000, they
Is
max
that
out.
because of geographic?
Geographic
Because
boundary.
we hit them out.
Yes, yep. Spanish Fort, 50,000, they max out at 80,000. Payson's 25,000, they max out at 30,000. North Ogden, 23,000, they max out at 30,000.
So they're only taking into account geographics, they're not taking into account resources, water.
No, this is
anything.
just the boundary, based on just a.
So that number could change with the ability to provide resources.
Oh, I want to sit on the garbage.
Who do we want to be?
Hey, Lori. I did your minutes for you. There you go.
Well, sometimes you're not really quite after, I do go through.
I'm just kidding, I'm just.
The AI?
We adjourned.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Since we didn't start the meeting. I think we had to end the meeting.